Next level, leagues above the devil. Flying higher than they said I would, they label me a rebel. Bogota barely as dope as me. Success the only thing that give me dopamine. A legend, the only thing that I'm supposed to be. Everything's the only thing that's owed to me. Yeah, I want it all, my baby. I didn't come to watch, I came to ball, my baby.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Drift Masters Championship. My name is Becky Evans and we are live on Red Bull TV. It is round 4. We are midway through the season and we're at Mondello Park in Ireland, the House of Drift. We're about to get geared up and into our top 32 battles, and by looking at that battle tree, there is not one safe battle for our drivers out there. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at our calendar so far. So 7 rounds, we're halfway through the season. We are in Ireland right now, heading to Latvia in just a couple of weeks to its Riga, baby. Then into Ferropolis, and all roads lead to the Red Bull Drift Masters final at the PGE Narodowy. Over 50,000 people crammed into a stadium for what will be the biggest showdown in drifting for 2025. Whew, I can't wait for that one, guys, but we've got so much action for you today. But before we do that, let's take a look at what happened in Finland last time, where our 2023 champion Conor Shanahan managed to take the top step. Let's take a look.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Finland, to round 3 of Drift Masters 2025, and you are joining us right here at the Power Park, and it has been a wet one. The first battle to go, Jack Shanahan versus Conor Shanahan. As you see him come off the line right now, it's going to be Jack Shanahan to chase down Conor Shanahan. A little tentative initiation there for Conor on the handbrake for a long time, and that opens the door for Jack. And look at this, Jack closer than Conor as he now starts to push his brother into the outside zone 2 and around as they look for this inner zone. They fire through, big angle, flicked on there by Conor, probably trying to throw off Jack, but it doesn't work because Jack Shanahan fires onto the door of his brother's GT86. They come down the hill, and now Conor starts to pull a little ground on his brother, but Jack shortcuts ever so slightly, fires through outside zone 6. Jack going to fire up onto the door, and he does. Squeezes Conor against the wall. Conor Shanahan, he gets the win and advances through to the top 8. Jack Shanahan loses out this time. So there we go, all checks done. They get the thumbs up all around. It's Vicek to lead out Shanahan for a spot in the final 4 awaits. All other positions filled. Who's going to take it through? As Vicek fires that car from left to right, Shanahan dials himself on the door. He would have known what Vicek was doing in that chase position, and now starts to repay the favour from the one more time. Deep into the back, and he takes the tyre off the rim. Vicek trying to deal with it, but can he hold on? The boot lid's hanging off the car. There's no tyre on one side of the car as he puts it onto the wall and manages to get across the line. Obviously, we can't change tyres here at Drift Masters. There are no 5-minute rules. So if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. And then, yeah, here we go. The decision's in, and it's going to be Conor Shanahan taking the win and advancing through. The 2024 champion takes on the 2023 champion right now for a spot in the final. Who is it going to be? They go bumper to bumper, mirror the angle, the good proximity. They transition together down the hill as they touch the wall across the line. It's Conor Shanahan. He gets the win, advances through to the final. We've talked about this all day. Who will take top step on the podium? It's time to find out. Conor Shanahan is back in the zone. He's back in the moment, but Kavir laser focused as he looks at Shanahan leaving the line. They come through the gears, a full wet circuit as they go bumper to bumper, and almost a mistake, almost contact from Kavir on initiation as Kavir goes for the side of the GT86 of Conor Shanahan, but Shanahan looks flawless in that second outside zone. He works his way around, he collects the inner, but Shanahan can't shake Kavir right now as Shanahan goes nice and deep into outside zone 4, but it's only opening the door more for Torane Kavir. The Norwegian can't be lost, he can't be shaken as he goes for it. Nice transition from Shanahan as he positions himself perfect, but once again the Norwegian's all over him. Oh, and look at this, Kavir's boost hose popped off on the run, and it's going to be Conor Shanahan! Conor Shanahan wins round 3 of Drift Masters here in Finland.
Every day you get up, you ask yourself, are you still good enough to be at the top of this game? And it's a hard game when the days are bad, but damn, it's a good day when the days are good. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm back where I belong. 2023, I won this event and went on to win the championship, and the plan is no different now.
Well, there you have it. That is our third round winner there, Conor Shanahan. Let's take a quick look at the championship standing. So as they stand the top three right now, Conor Shanahan with 152 points, Oliver Randalou with 136, and James Dean rounding out the top three with 117 points. Well, I managed to catch up with man of the minute, man of the hour, man of last round, Conor Shanahan. Obviously, you've had a great time in Finland, but you're now back at your home track, Mondello Park. This is a place that you know like the back of your hand, but it's never easy, even no matter how well you know a track.
Yeah, absolutely. As I've mentioned in many previous comments, it's probably one of the worst tracks of the year for me. I've always struggled here, never really to see him get the big result. Yesterday was a good confidence boost for that, but this place is special. I think this is probably where I had my first wins, had my first championship. You know, so it has a lot of great memories here, and I think the part what I love the most is that a lot of my family friends who don't travel to all the races driving worldwide, it's nice that they hang out and everybody's here together and supporting. It's pretty nice feeling.
You said yesterday when we came to you in the car, you had a 97 points qualifier, but you said, I'm still not comfortable. And we've seen that over the last couple of years. I mean, last year, top 16 with Kroll. We're looking for a better result than that for today. Yeah,
100%. Last year was a little bit unfortunate. It was kind of the story of the year, really. Power steering pump failure ended with a pretty bad crash against Kroll. You know, so even in previous years, I've been very close. The rhythm has been good, but then obviously as we head into closer battles, I think the problem with this track is that we all turn into race car drivers instead of drifters. When we get to the top 8, top 4, everyone's letting down the tire pressures, and that first corner takes no prisoners. It's everyone's pushing hard, and I feel like one mistake and it's game over before the run even finishes.
We've got to talk about the qualifying showdown. I mean, the battles that are being thrown up, even from that point all the way through to top 32, there is no safe battle anymore. All the drivers are on such a heater all the time. Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. Honestly, I think the biggest thing what I've noticed in the past couple of months is the work what everybody's putting in from every level. You know, I think you know, not talking down on any driver, but it's really impressive to see everybody's really working, really putting in a lot of work. And now,
don't mind Jack there.
As Jack sounds me out, but it's really cool to see that. You know, it's really cool to see the level overall is growing, not just the top level is getting higher. And I think that's probably the most impressive part of Drift Masters is that you have a guy in the top 32 now. And as I've mentioned before, hunger sometimes take over. You know, I'm the guy that everyone wants to take down right now. So I know from the get-go I'm going to have hard battles. And if they pull off the risk what they pull off, I have to drive it a 10.
100%, Conor. Good luck in your first battle with Ite Sadar. We'll be looking out for you. All right, guys, so let's take a little wander through the paddock here. Very busy. We are going to head over to meet with James Dean. Now, this is a story that has been playing out a little bit in the background, but very much action-packed. This year, James Dean has come back with a brand new chassis, a brand new car built in just 40 days and 40 nights by his team back in Ireland, the Spec 5 DM. This is a NASCAR engine in a Ford Mustang. Ford Performance coming to European drifting. What a moment for James Dean, and what a moment for our Drift Championship. It's been brilliant to see this new car come to the track, but it hasn't been without its moments here and there. James Dean has been putting in the work to get this car sorted and absolutely dialed for Drift Masters. Right then, James Dean, let's take a little chat. Stood right here. Big deep breath before the big day, hey?
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
We're heading into our top 32. Obviously, we had the qualifying yesterday. You put a pretty decent run on the board with the 91.5, but what happened in the second run there?
Yeah, so first run was quite a bit safe for my liking, 91.5, and I knew that I had to give it everything in my second run. Peter was already after setting the bar really high at 99.5, so anything less than that was not going to be enough. So I left the line, went as hard as I possibly could in the car, got the first corner really good, and I sent it too hard when transitioning back into the second corner, and unfortunately over-rotated. So one of those things, but you know, we're trying our absolute best. We're learning a lot every single lap that we do in this Ford Mustang RTR, and yeah, today's a new day.
And we've got to talk about, we're back at Mondello Park. It's your home track this year. You know, you're looking to repeat your performance of 2024 as you did take home the top step, the gold medal. It's what is it like to be back home, and especially bringing this brand new car here?
Yeah, so driving at home in Ireland is very special to me, and it's extra special this weekend, debuting the Ford Mustang RTR in Ireland in front of the home fans. And during the last 45 minutes, I've just been spending time with fans in front of the car and just hearing all the feedback and the love and support, and no matter what, they support me no matter where I go. And I just want to try my best. I want to push hard. We figured out the car a lot more overnight. I'm feeling a lot more dialed today. I think the car can win, so it's just on me. And just got to push the limits, put on a show, and just remember, enjoy it, you know? I put a lot of pressure on myself. I want to do really, really well. And yeah, let's just see what happens. Try to enjoy it, put on a show in front of these amazing Irish fans and also the international people that come and support Irish drifting too.
That's absolutely amazing, James. And you know what? Not only that, have you got this car that you built this weekend, you've got Simon Olsen in the garage right next to you in your S14.9. What is it like watching the car that you won in last year on the track whilst you're in your Mustang this year, trying to make it work?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Working with Simon this weekend has been an absolute pleasure, and that car is just so good. It's like tires, fuel. That's all that has been going into that car all weekend. And it's also a huge family effort. So I have all of my family here with me this weekend. My sisters are selling the 130 March. My two brothers are working on the S14.9 with Simon. And obviously my own crew, Michael, Mikey, and Chris are full-time on the Mustang. So hell of a lot going on. We also got all the nieces and nephews here. It's unreal, and very proud of what we have going on.
Well, James, good luck in your top 32. I know you'll have lots of fans out there cheering for you.
Thank you.
Well, guys, that is our quick chat with our drivers, our little walk through the paddock. Let's take a look at our weekend schedule so far. So our top 32 starts in just about 5 minutes. Then at 15:20 local time, we will start into our top 16 and head all the way to the finals. And then we'll find out who's going to take the top step here at Mondello Park at the House of Drift. Well, I think that's enough from me. I'm going to hand you up to our kings of the commentary box, Ian Waddington and Jacob Gettins. Guys, you know what Ireland's like. It's going to be a party.
Thank you very much, Becky. Yes, it is going to be a party, and it is always a party in Ireland. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 4 here in Mondello Park with some packed-out grandstands and some hot seats on some hot places ready to rock and roll. Guys are on the edge of those seats on the grandstands. No one wants to miss an inch of the action. Jacob, it's going to be a heater this weekend, as Becky said earlier.
Yeah, it's incredible. Top 32 is absolutely nuts, and it feels so special to be here in Ireland in front of this crowd. I got to spend a ton of time walking around, meeting everybody, snuck up into the grandstands for a little bit, checked out the action. It's just been wild, and I mean, look at, I got goosebumps already. I just want to go.
Yeah, look, these guys are ready to go, but we're not ready to go with the action just for you. Let's take a look at what the judges are going to be looking at this weekend in the regards of rules for twin battle situations. So we looked at it yesterday. So for the lead driver, this is what the judges are looking for. They want that lead driver to hit all the clipping zones, maintain consistent angle, and drive so the chase car can follow. Now, what are they looking for the chase car?
Yeah, I mean, really, for the chase car, it's use that lead car as a clipping point. You got to get into the pocket, you got to get into the side, mirror those transitions, and really be on them all the way through this track. It's really, really tough, but maintain close proximity as long as possible. Initiate no later than the lead driver. Match or better the lead driver's angle. That's a tough one. And mimic transitions in line of that lead driver. Basically, you just want to be their mirror the whole way through. Makes it sound easy. It is not by any means. Tons of transitions, tons of clipping points. This is a very, very difficult track.
Well, luckily enough for us, Jacob, we don't have to judge it and talk about it. We've got 3 of the best in the business. We've got Matthias Jedges, Vernon Svenefeld, and our judge that's going to be talking to us this weekend, David Callas. David Callas, what is it exactly that you are going to be looking for this weekend to separate the winners from the losers in top 32?
We believe that the first corner will be determining point of all battles, both for the lead, and also for the chase. Because for the lead, you're having very high speed initiation, and then you're going over the crest and down into the compression, which is very demanding on all the cars. It's very not easy to go through that section. And for the chase, it is very hard to be in the pocket from the beginning, and we are really looking forward to see those drivers immediately from the initiation on the door of the leader.
Thank you very much, David. So there you go. And you know, look, like we say, we don't have to judge it, luckily enough. It is a tough track. We spoke about it yesterday quite a bit in qualifying. The initiation, completely blind. When they come up that hill, they fire that car in. And we're going to take a look at that track right now. You can see that dotted white line separating both sides of the track. The lead car not being able to cross that white line on initiation. So here we go. They're off the start line, through the gears. Third, second, third, fourth. Big clutch kick, and then flick the car to angle to that first outside zone. Keep the front wheels in that dotted line, then pick up the centre of that inside zone. Then it's right to the edge of the circuit for outside zone 3. entry back across the circuit with a small decel into this very long outside zone 4 without putting wheels into the gravel. Then it's a nice transition across the circuit and then back up onto the first wall. But then you get into this long outside zone before you go right to the edge of the circuit once again, pick up the final outside zone and across the line. It seems very, very easy. But we spoke about that coming up the hill, being blind, the compression of the suspension, been catching drivers out with understeer, the amount of speed. And I spoke to Torane Kavir earlier on mid-practice, and he said to me that everybody has turned their car up to 100% from qualifying yesterday. He said that everyone now is driving harder than they've drove before. Becky alluded to it earlier on. The top 32 grid is like a final battle after battle. Some of the standout ones for us, though, have to be pointed out, Jacob.
Yeah, for me, Connor Falvey, Daigo Saito, that is the new up-and-coming versus the old guard. That is going to be incredibly exciting just because you have two very different styles from two very different parts of the world going head-to-head and showing what drifting was like and what drifting is like today.
Yeah, and for me, the standout battle was Harry Kerr versus Dwayne McKeever, two Irish superstars, but one an up-and-coming driver, Harry Kerr, a new name in Irish drifting, also winning championships in the UK, leading the Irish Championship right now. But Dwayne McKeever, the old guard, the guy that's done it all, been there, won both the championships in the past, now leading the line. But can Harry Kerr take down the man that he probably idolised for many, many years? That will be decided in the second half of our top 32. Well, look, the time for talking is almost over, as we say. Everybody around Mondello Park is ready for action. The grandstands are packed. Everyone at home is refreshed and ready to go. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for top 32. Well, we get into it straight away with some of the biggest names in the business. Of course, our first place qualifier right now, Piotr Więcek, sits on the line to lead out Alan Hines. And if you're brand new to Drift Masters, or if this is the first time this year you've tuned in, well, where have you been? Because you've missed a whole host of action. And now, as the higher qualifier, you can choose whether you lead or chase when you pull up to the start line. No chicane anymore. We've been that off. We now have a laser beam that separates the start line. The lead car has to leave that start line within 1.5 seconds. Now some time for redemption. Alan Hines took that car to the wall in the first run of practice just 2 days ago. The car repaired. He managed to get out for qualifying. Now he takes on a heavy hitter, a 99.5 run for Więcek. Alan Hines knows that he can follow Więcek to perfectly around this circuit as Więcek puts that car right into the outside zone. Hines shallows up, loses some ground. He's got a mild amount of understeer, but he now gets himself back into it. Więcek, though, unfazed, unrocked, and look at the pace that Więcek is firing around this circuit.
Yeah, great way to kick things off. I mean, Piotr coming in with that incredible qualifying run. I mean, as close to perfection as you're possibly going to get. And Alan Hines, I mean, winning the weekend just by getting back out there. Look at Piotr, the amount of speed coming over that hill, one of the fastest drivers, full compression coming through there. And Alan Hines gets gapped out just a bit, but is able to make up that ground going into some of the later zones. But Piotr absolutely on one, picking things up. And there's Alan Hines poking through the window, gaining that proximity again, but possibly still fighting some setup issues. When Alan crashed in practice, that front right wheel moved back by, I mean, 30, 40 centimeters at least, and the chances of that car being perfectly aligned now are so slim. So he is fighting that and also fighting against one of the greatest drivers in Drift Masters history in Piotr Więcek. So talk about an incredible battle to kick things off right away. But Alan Hines still in that battle, and now as they swap this around, Piotr is going to have to chase a driver who might have a car that's a bit injured. So this isn't easy, but he still has to maintain that proximity, mimic everything in the same way. So it's not by any means over at this point, because in drifting, anything can happen at any time. It's so volatile at times.
It certainly is, yeah. And like you say, that car not 110%, as we can see our clock there on the start line counting down. We should have both our drivers ready to rock and roll, and now be the chance for Alan Hines to lead out Piotr Więcek, and there isn't an Alan Hines on the line, and that is why we're getting the clock in our vision, because Alan Hines at the moment is on the other side of the burnout box. You can see our marshal down there. Apparently Alan Hines' car now getting too hot and suffering. He's going to make it back probably just in time. As soon as he enters that burnout box, the clock will be stopped. Yeah, there we go. He's going to get to the line in time for the battle to fulfill. Yeah, the car not playing ball this weekend for him.
Yeah, that's tough, and maybe because it was overheating, it was pulling a bit of timing out of it, taking some of that power out, and that could have been why we saw him shallow up, dropping power partway through that run. But either way, this is no time to back down. You got Piotr Więcek chasing you. Just go for it.
Well, exactly that. And he waits for that green light to pop up at the bottom of our start line. It jumps through, breaks the beam, and here we go, through the gears. Look at Więcek, though, absolutely laser focused. The man at the top qualifying, he'll want to take this through and get the first top 32 battle out of the way. Look at this, oh, big understeer, and it throws off Więcek, and Hines puts it on the grass. He's going to try to keep this one going, but Więcek has found himself in the middle of the track, completely upset. Piotr Więcek right now, as Alan Hines tries to fulfill the run, and Więcek tries to find the side of the rear quarter of that S14.3 as they come across the line.
Yeah, for me, really, as we said earlier, Alan Hines getting back out there is just a testament to his team. I mean, the family heritage there. If you get a chance, take a look up what the Hines name means to Irish drifting and drifting across the world. So amazing to see him out here, a legend in the virtual world, putting it back down. But in this case, it's not easy just to hit a button and go back to pits and start over.
Yeah.
Fighting through those mechanical issues, but decides to keep going, keep the run, throw it back out. Piotr Więcek doing what he needs to do in this case, really, once Alan had straightened out. The battle was over, but Piotr showing a lot of respect here, staying back, still deciding, hey, I'm going to keep drifting, I'll keep tandeming behind you, let's finish this run and let you get across the finish line on your own terms.
Yeah, look at that. You can see inside there the car from our slow-mo camera. You can see Alan battling with the car, catching a lot of understeer after initiation. They're both out of the car down there to receive the decision, and pretty simple one for the judges. But it won't be that easy all the way through the weekend. Side on the left for Alan Hines, right for Piotr Więcek, and there we go. 2 votes in. It's going to be Piotr Więcek from Poland, takes the win, advances through to the top 16. Unfortunately, we lose Alan Hines. But like you say, I think a win for him is getting out, qualifying and moving, into competition.
This is not the last time you're going to hear of Alan Hines. No. I guarantee it. Piotr getting that battle in. One out of the way.
One out of the way. And drivers, even at this level, people like Peter, they say that winning the top 32 battle is a big thing. Here we go. Back of the line we go. Another wildcard driver this weekend, Simon Olsen, to take on Benedictus Čurba. Čurba slots himself into that lead position as the higher qualifying driver. Only 1 place above Čurba. Čurba sits on the line, cool, calm and collected. And Simon Olsen in that borrowed car from James Dean's team, that S14.9 carbon Kevlar 2JZ powered machine. Simon Olsen said he's so happy to be here. He said, my only goal this weekend was to qualify, and then I spoke to him earlier and he said, well, now the goals moved, because now the goal is to get into top 16. We'll see how he gets on against a man from Lithuania that has a synonymous name for being one of the deadliest in the game at chase and lead. And look at this from Čurba as he flicks that carbon Kevlar E92 BMW in. Oh, and Olsen catches a whole bunch of understeer coming down the hill. Čurba gets himself back into it, back on throttle, back into the outside zone. Simon Olsen tries to get himself back into the mix. As Čurba fires the back end to the wall, pops the tailgate open, and now Simon Olsen starts to rein him in once again as they get it across the line.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Benedictus Čurba came through there with a ton of speed, a ton of heat, and unfortunately for Simon Olsen, having to get through that first outside zone, it looked like he tried to back out of it a bit. He was gaining a lot of speed on Čurba, gaining that proximity quick, and had to back out.
Čurba there on that shot from that angle. Look at the understeer he caught.
Yeah, and really for Simon, he had to do something to basically to adapt, so he didn't go into the side of Benedictus Čurba. So that is really interesting. The judge has taken a big look at this initiation.
I was just going to say, from the other monitor, sorry to jump in on you there, Jacob, they're looking at that initiation point, and from the first angle that we see, I didn't notice it.
No, I didn't either. It happened so fast. They're coming over that hill at over 150 kilometers an hour at this point, and these cars are gripped up, gaining speed, and there's Čurba just putting a massive exclamation point on that wall. But what I really love is Simon Olsen at no point in time gave up, because a lot of drivers, you get to that understeer and you might think, oh, that's it, that's my run over. Simon knows better. The battle is not over until the judges cast their vote. So keep driving, keep going for it as the speed roll comes out.
Listen, Martin's like a postman. You got a parcel, he'll wrap it up, and then you can send it.
Yeah, he's aced that test. The certificates in fast car repair. His wall is just covered. It's incredible.
There's nothing he can't do. So there we go, back of that car, somewhat remotely held together with we like to call it duct tape. Duct tape? You used to call duct tape?
Yeah, speed tape, gaff tape.
Yeah.
Speed tape just sounds a little spicy, a little more racy.
Racy.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, duct tape is for the home. Speed tape is for the car.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here we go. Car slide to gears. Simon Olsen going to try a little bit of redemption here. See if he can't pull a fast one on Benedictus Čurba. But Čurba, man, no knows his way around this circuit, that's for sure. Jumps onto the back bumper already on initiation, and Simon Olsen flicks that carbon Kevlar S15 to angle. No such issues this time for Simon Olsen. Oh, contact as Cherba hits the rear wheel and fires himself on the inside of the circuit. Simon Olsen keeps up, and this one is going to be a tough battle for the judges to decide, that's for sure. As Olsen puts the back bumper to the wall, Cherba gets himself back into the fight, jumps onto the door and pushes Olsen across the line.
Oh, it always gets spicy when you start to see these contacts, because it will, in a lot of ways, come down to who's at fault. And it can be, from these first views, it is so difficult to tell who's been more aggressive, who's slowing down. But look at Simon Olsen coming through the pipe, coming over that hill. Big initiation there, getting that car all the way, knowing how much trust he can put into it. But it's this transition here where things get spicy as we're blinded by the smoke. But Benedictus Cherba gets into the back end of Simon Olsen and catches him in transition.
He's sustained some damage as well there. Has he got a flat tire on the front of that?
It might be. And then having to fight through the rest of that is really tough. But Simon Olsen keeps in it, has that contact, doesn't give up at any point in time, and just two warriors battling it out. And really for Cherba, he knows the status that Simon Olsen brings over here, an incredible competitor no matter where he drives. And Benedictus Cherba, same thing. I mean, the list of accomplishments from Benedictus Cherba is massively long. And Simon Olsen, I mean, a rookie here over in the States, 4th place overall in a season, and just both very accredited drivers. The judges now going to have to determine fault to really understand which way this is going to go.
Yeah, well, I can see the judges replay monitor in front of us now, and they're going back over and over the contact. They're going back over the initiation with the understeer. This one is not going to be a simple, and look at this, both guys out of the car discussing. Cherba a little bit deflated there, I think.
A little bit. I mean, you see the international hand signs of drifting. You get both hands, palm down, hands out, okay, you did this and I did that, but both drivers look a little uncertain here, Ian.
Yeah, and I think for me, Cherba feels more uncertain because he would have felt the understeer on initiation on the lead, and then he would obviously know about the contact. Look, this is the understeer they're looking at.
Yeah. So Simon's is very easy to point out. You can see it, but I think it's what came before that, what happened with Benedictus Cherba, that dictated what ended up having to happen with Simon. So because things happen so quickly, it seems a bit delayed on it. But yeah, pretty interesting there is our judge, David Klaas, eyes in, he's totally zoned in.
I mean, we're only this is the second battle of top 32, and the judges are already eyes on stalks, looking at 4 monitors, writing notes frantically, and having a heated discussion, Jacob.
Listen, I can read their notes right now, but I would love to get all of those by the end and compare all of it. I'd sit down on the plane and read through all those. Yeah. Although I don't think I can read any of their handwriting.
No. Well, here we go. Looks like there is the decision dropping in. Slide them left for Cherba, right for Simon Olsen. So 1 vote for Simon Olsen. It's 2 votes for Simon Olsen. He gets the win and advances through to top 16. The bar is moved once again. And we say goodbye to Benedictus Cherba. We're going to go to you, David Klaas, real quick. Understeer from Cherba. Was the contact from Cherba as well the deciding factor?
Yes. That was something what we were deliberating a lot. That's also why there is split decision on that one. When one of the judges thought that it was still chaseable, me and Vernon thought that it is but it is unchaseable because the understeer was so severe that it was very hard to follow. Yes, there was a possibility to get out of it, but still, that was a big mistake done. In the second run, Cherba he knew that he needed to pull out something big from his chase, and he tried his best, but he a little bit overcooked it and hit Simon. Still, it was not a 0, but still, it was not possible to give him the win afterwards.
Thank you very much, David. Sir? Yeah, and tough for these guys. It's going to be like that all day. We go back to the start line to another big battle. This one is going to be one for the ages. We've seen these guys go head-to-head for many, many years, and now we get to see them again in 2025. It's going to be Jack Shanahan to take on Tomas Kiley, but Tomas Kiley, the higher qualifier, deciding to chase first.
Interesting. That I really think is a good idea in this. Save a bit of those tires, because Jack Shanahan, when they swap this around, is going to be on your door. And if you got a little bit more tire left on the car, that could be the difference in pulling out a bit of a gap.
Well, there we go. Slams that car into gear. Tomas Kiley, an OG, a real big name in Irish drifting, and so is Jack Shanahan. These two heavyweight hitters go head-to-head right now in top 32. Oh, look at the initiation from Shanahan, and it caught Tomas Kiley sleeping. Shanahan goes a wheel over the edge of the circuit, but manages to get it back on that qualifying line as he now puts himself right into the outside zone. But Kiley managed to regain some lost ground as he fires through the smoke up into the wall, up into the side of that Toyota GT86 as they go wheel to wheel for the outside zone and across the line.
There's something that happens when two Irish drivers go head-to-head in Mondello. The level steps up. It's like an ego thing almost. It's like, we've battled before, we're going to battle again, and I'm going to do it from high country, I'm going to do it from high country, and they just go so hard right off the bat. This is just a full send, and look at Jack Shanahan, completely focused in, quick little e-brake to get that car settled, and then locked in, barely even moving that steering wheel. I feel like he could drive this track blindfolded at this point. And Tomas Kiley, as you said, that little bit of an issue at the very beginning, but you could not tell to the rest of the run. Knows how to cut a bit of the course here without making it look super visible, and then gets right into it, almost making front wheel to front wheel contact as they battle through those zones. This is just a head-to-head for the ages for me, and something just so cool that the whole world gets to watch right now. If you didn't watch the other series, if you didn't watch these drivers coming up, this is incredible. Like, there's a history again.
There is a huge history, and as you say, Jacob, if you haven't managed to see these two guys go head to head before, there is all this footage is still available online. You can go back and watch the battles because I've been at Mondello Park before where they've gone one more time 3 or 4 times.
I believe it,
because there is no separating them. The same with James Dean, Tomas Kiley. There is a really famous battle from here in Mondello Park of James Dean and Tomas Kiley going so hard in one more times that the engine exploded in Kiley's car and the piston came out.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you love drift, if you really, really love drifting, go back, watch the feeder series, understand what these drivers have gone through just to get to this point.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Look at this, very clever from Jack Shanahan, using that time left on the timer to scrub the front tyres on the car to make sure they're perfectly clean so that he can fire in. He knows that there's been some unsteer issues here in the past. He doesn't want to catch one right now, chasing down Tomas Kiley as the light goes green, car slamming to gear and off the start line. Can be Kiley to lead out Jack Shanahan for a spot in the top 16 awaits. We've already got one wild card in the top 16. Can we have another? As Shanahan now doesn't have any issues staying with Kiley, but Kiley's absolutely flying as he now puts the back end of that car deep over the zone. And Shanahan pops on the clutch, jumps the front of that GT86 up, looks for that open opportunity, fires through the smoke. As Jack Shanahan now once again looks for the side of that S13 as they go to the wall and across the line.
Yeah, very, very rare mistake there from Kiley, and Jack able to adapt to it. And when we get into these replays, you're going to see Jack at angle doing some really interesting things to gain proximity while at full angle without cutting the course. Super, super cool to see. But look at this entry for Tomas Kiley. Very comfortable at this. Gets that car out to angle. And Jack Shanahan knows the moves he's going to pull up. But Tomas Kiley right here overcommitting just ever so slightly. And really you can see it here. That white line shows everything that you're doing when you start to put those wheels up. And look at Jack. Doesn't take the hand off the e-brake. Using it to gain that proximity. As we see his lucky charm there. Zip tied to the front roll bar of the Shanahan car. Oh man, I'm loving seeing this. Jack popping through the smoke. It feels like two drivers back in bash cars going at it. They could be doing this with 100 horsepower, 1,000 horsepower, and it's going to be the same battle every single time.
Yeah, it certainly would be. These two guys, absolute pleasure to watch, and you almost feel like you've been robbed watching it in Top 32.
I know, and I mean we're stacking up with some crazy battles already in the head-to-heads that could happen, but yeah, just getting to see the two countrymen that have gone head-to-head on many occasions do it here live in front of us, Top 32 at Mondello. It's just something so special about it.
There we go, they're out of the car, and they both laugh to each other like it must be the 50th battle they've done together head-to-head. Two good friends behind the scenes, and both cars come out of that one unscathed. They laugh as they look across. And there we go, slide them left for Shanahan, right for Tomas Kiley. It's going to be one vote for Shanahan. It's 2 votes for Shanahan. It's going to be unanimous. It's Jack Shanahan getting the win, advancing through to the top 16, and we say goodbye to Tomas Kiley. And Shanahan takes a sigh of relief and says, well, that was a tough day, but you always will be against Tomas Kiley. He knows what Tomas Kiley's like. Look, Becky's down there on the ground with Jack Shanahan. He's had a tough weekend so far, Becky. He said to me earlier on in practice that things weren't going right. He wasn't feeling like he's in the zone, but how's he feeling now?
I think you can tell by his face here that he's having a much better weekend now. He's just managed to sail through his top 32 battle and into top 16. Jack, that looked almost like a friendly, just two friends driving as hard as possible on a track they know like the back of their hand.
Yeah, no, that was good fun. We were just discussing above, I think it's been like 9 years since we last battled here, which is mad. It makes us feel old, but we're only 25, so it's funny, we started our journey together when we were 10 years old, so it's quite cool to do it here. It's good fun, for sure.
You said last night you were going to get a good night's sleep, get yourself in the game, get your head straightened. Are you feeling good now you've just got into the top 16? What's the plan for the day?
I think a bit better for sure. So we did make one adjustment between practice and battles to make the car just drive a little bit nicer, and it kind of paid off. So now we're not fighting it as much, and it also sounds a bit better with the adjustments, which is sweet, which always makes it better. But yeah, I'm just kind of like, to be honest, that was the most nerve-wracking battle for me because I know how good Tomas is, and I knew he was going to send it, and I think we both pushed a little bit too hard, but his mistake outdone mine. So yeah, it's good to get through that, and just like we can just focus now again for the rest and see how it goes.
Absolutely, Jack. Congratulations. We'll see you in the top 16. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Becky. Yeah, the smile on his face said it all.
Yeah.
He was happy. I spoke to him earlier on, though, and he was in the car trying to get back out of practice, and he said, I just don't feel good this weekend. But it's been the story around the paddock all weekend.
They say that, but then they come out and do stuff like this.
Exactly.
I don't feel good. Oh, I put down a perfect run.
Well, here we go. Back on the line we go. Pavel Korbolinski to take on Kevin Pesur. Korbolinski, the higher qualified, decides to lead first. You can see the heavy breathing inside the car from this man. Incredible line driving. This man renowned for his talent behind the wheel of this 2JZ powered Nissan 200 XS14, but he's got a steely competitor alongside him, the Hungarian driver Kevin Pesur. He's been looking for some redemption, trying to look for that first ever Drift Masters podium. Loves it here in Mondello Park. What can he do right now? He's not got an easy battle in top 32. Nobody has. As they come down the hill through the gears, onto the back bumper goes Pesur. As Korbolinski puts that car to angle, looks for the edge of the circuit. Very nice lead line so far from Pavel Korbolinski as he puts it into the outside zone, and that opens the door for Kevin Pesur. Pesur washes a little bit there, trying to get down the inside. It pays off as he almost takes the front end off that BMW. Pesur puts himself right where he needs to be, a little squeeze on the throttle, trying to get on that front wheel, and he makes it.
When we were looking at the battles earlier on, I really wanted to highlight, I wanted to highlight all of them, let's be clear here. But this is such a unique battle because we have two drivers with very different styles. We've got such a clinical driver, Pavel Korbolinski, and then Kevin Pesur is known for getting wild when he needs to. He'll take risks, he'll try and cut down those margins whenever he can, but Pavel is just able to provide you such an incredible lead run where you know where he's going to go, he's going to be locked into angle all the way through, and it's such a clinically perfect lead run throughout this whole thing, and Kevin Pesur trying to push the pace right there. Look at that. Getting a bit more grip into it, trying to get into the pocket, and he'll go a little bit wild. He'll try some things. He'll cut some corners and make a dive at the last minute just to make sure that he's leaving the track and finishing off the run as close as he possibly can. So I think when they swap this around, it'll be interesting because Kevin Pesur knows that he could have been closer. He's going to huck it as hard as he can. And Pavel Korbolinski likes to be clinical, likes to be clean. Is he going to be able to keep up with Kevin Pesur, who's, I have a feeling, is going to try something a little wild?
Yeah, this is the thing with Kevin Pesur. You never know if he's going to go for a nice, qualifying style lead run, or if he's going to throw something out there, try and throw on crazy angle on initiation, turn up the heat a little bit, push a little harder on some of those outside zones, try and pull a gap from Pavel Korbolinski, who we know sticks to that line, stays on that line. He's very predictable. He knows what he's doing. This is going to be interesting, especially now as we see Kevin Pesur in that lead position. We get the nod from Pavel Korbolinski as he says to the starlight marshal, I'm ready to go. He creeps off the line goes green. As we come through the gears, you can see Korbolinski not letting Pesur get away as he flicks it to angle. Nice line so far from both drivers, and now he starts to open the throttle. Drive away, but there's contact. Korbolinski hits the back end of Kevin Pesur's BMW E92 as they fire through, the back end destroyed, and once again Korbolinski goes for the back bumper that's not there anymore. It's forced under the back of the car, but unshaken, unfazed is Pesur.
Very interesting there. On first glance, it almost looked like Pesur stalled up just a touch, and Pavel expecting him to come through. And I know the judges, that's the big thing they're going to highlight in this is, did the contact happen before that straightening or after? So let's take a look back here. Kevin Pesur did big initiation, so fast out of that. I was a little worried for Pavel if he was going to be able to keep up as we take a look at this in-car and look at him having to hold up that little bit. And this is the transition that's going to make the main difference coming through here. It's tough. He was rotating, but it kind of stalled up. What are you thinking?
I'm going to say Korbolinski got caught in smoke a little bit.
He did. I mean, he definitely did, but
I'm just going left field.
Okay.
I'm just going very left field.
I look at this as Pesur did not have a fluid transition through.
Okay.
So I see what you're,
divided.
but it could be both. This is the interesting thing.
Right.
You can have both things at the same time.
You can.
We can have our cake.
For me, I think Korbolinski got a little lost in the smoke there coming down the hill.
Interesting.
Pesur like, hey, you're going to have to fix this.
There's a bill on the way.
This was a brand new car at the beginning of the year.
You see how beautiful this was?
I don't think that Pesur stalled up too much on the transition.
Okay.
You think he did?
I think it wasn't as fluid as it should have been.
Okay.
I think there has to be that fluid momentum between, especially because that chase driver has to be able to predict that. But man, look at that damage.
I don't know if Korpolinski was in the wrong here. Look, I'm saying that against a man that is so consistent and predictable. Look, well, let's see it back. Look, we see it here, a little slow motion.
Right there.
I think the contact made the transition a little...
Okay, all right. I see where you're going. I see where you're going with this.
If you watch it from the in-car, from me, Korpolinski, you watch it from the in-car, completely clouded in smoke.
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure. I agree. But I think he's got such good timing that
we can be judge and jury here. We can be divided.
I know.
We can be divided.
We agree a lot, but not on this one, apparently.
Not on this one. No.
That's okay.
This one's going to go... We'll be arguing about this in Riga.
It might happen.
But the judges are arguing about it because there's still no decision in. Both guys kicking around, a little nervous from both of them. Korpolinski thinks maybe he made the fault. Did Piscotty make the fault? Slide him left for Piscotty, right for Korpolinski. It's one vote for Korpolinski. It's Pavel Korpolinski getting the win, advancing through, and Kevin Piscotty throws his hands up, and you can see a little dejection there, and both guys discussing it. And well, look, cheers there and happiness for Pavel Korpolinski, but Piscotty visibly upset. I'm going to have to go to you quickly, Kevin. David Kalas. What was it? What was it that we were talking about that was wrong?
Yeah, we are saying that the deceleration every time needs to happen after the transition. And it was clearly visible that Kevin was already handbraking through the transition, so he was slowing down in place where he should not. And it is very hard to anticipate as a chaser that something like that will happen. So we blamed for that fault Kevin Piscotty.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay, interesting. All right.
Okay, yeah. Hey. I see it now.
Yeah. That's all good. But I agree. He was definitely bathed in smoke, though. That didn't help. That did not help the situation.
Well, here we go. We're back on the start line to a big battle yesterday. A man that was in the qualifying showdown underneath the bonnet of his own car. Maybe it looks like he's good to go. Yeah, and he runs around. There's Marco Zacharil. So you could hear him shouting there to our start line Marshall Martin as we see Clint Van Ort in the car, laser focus, ready to go, sitting in that lead position. And very interesting, because Marco Zacharil has told the judges he wants to chase first.
Okay. This, to me, I think is a good idea. Clint Van Ort is an absolute wild man. He is crazy. Some of his practice runs, some of the things he was trying in practice, I've never seen anybody try on this track. So let's see what cards he decides to deal out on this run.
Well, I'm interested to know what was wrong with Marco Zacharil's car and what forced him to get out of the car under the bonnet to work out the issue. He's onto the back bumper already of the Dutch drivers. S14 as they fire through. Clint Van Ort puts that car where it needs to be, and this is cleaner driving from Clint Van Ort that we see yesterday in qualifying. A little big wobble there from both drivers. Oh, a little contact. Zacharil scrappy right now, struggling to find that form that he had yesterday in qualifying, in the qualifying showdown, as he puts that car right to the edge of the circuit. Clint Van Ort doing a good job, and another shove in the side from Zacharil.
Yeah, that was it was a very interesting battle. Clint Van Ort didn't look like he got all of it coming through initiation. Bit of a scrub out there, and that's a spot that the judges really talking about. So watch the front wheels, the yellow car, Clint Van Ort. So at angle, and then right about here, he scrubs out a whole bunch of it and has to use that to push out. And this drone angle is going to show you right away. Look, it has to take a bunch out, almost has the zero, or the wheels go to zero. So that, he had to do that in order to get the car to go out to the section, and then has to push out to try and make it to that zone. And to me, that makes it really tough for Marco Zacharil to be able to chase that. But he does a really good job. He adapts quickly, pulls the car back, but yeah, and then through the rest of the zone, Clint Van Ort struggling a little bit. It can be a shake of your emotions when you make that kind of mistake right off the bat. But Clint Van Ort powers through the rest of it, does a good job through these zones, and he really is a wild man. That car is 80% zip ties. He goes out every practice. There you go. You can see how much that's being held together. He goes out every practice and absolutely sends it, and just wants to know the limit of the track, the car, the boundaries, how heavy the concrete walls are, everything. Marco Zacharil does an amazing job of adapting all the way through. You need to get me some of those glasses.
I was just going to say, yeah. How does he even see? How does he even see with them on?
Just with vibes. With vibes.
We're back on the line, ready to rock and roll. Be interested to see now how Marco Zacharil deals being chased by Clint Van Ort, and I wonder if Marco Zacharil has put a lot of grip in that car and was the reason for quite a bit of that contact as we come through off the line now. Clint Van Ort onto the back bumper of that BMW 2 Series through the gears. The clutch kick from Marco Zacharil as he sets himself up nicely now. Down he comes. Yeah, that car not reacting quite so right as Clint Van Ort using Zacharil as a buffer, a bumper to hold him on the circuit. They get into that outside zone 4 through the gears, and down they come. As now Zacherl starts to pull away from Clint Van Aert. Clint Van Aert lost on the middle of the circuit, trying to shortcut, trying to drive back up onto the side of BMW, but he's lost in the smoke.
Yeah, I really felt like Clint just not able to get the speed to the ground that we saw to Marco Zacherl, who has that car completely dialed in. I mean, on throttle, off throttle, it's doing everything he wants it to do, whereas I think Clint just not feeling comfortable, not able to really put the power down to the ground, but a bit of e-brake drag there, and we see another straight in there from Marco Zacherl. Both drivers struggling through that first outside zone. Wow, okay.
That's quite, yeah. And again, from another angle, it looks completely different from the drone. It really shows you how much he kind of lost angle at that inside zone.
And it almost was like Clint was helping him out there, getting into the side of him and pushing him back into angle to get through the rest of the zone. So I don't know if you can transfer points or give him a high five there to be like, hey, thanks for getting me through that zone. But then through the rest of this, Marco Zacherl able to put the power down, able to get through everything, with Clint not with the same speed through the rest of the run. So I don't know if that contact may have created some sort of damage or something, but Clint just not the faster of the two vehicles throughout that run, and just a tough one, a real tough one.
Yeah, I mean, look, we speak about it all the time, Jacob, and say I wouldn't want to judge it.
No.
The first 4 battles, I am so glad I'm not a judge.
Oh,
and I'm looking across at the judges, and our 4th judge, the replay judge over there, Chris Witalski. The replays are backwards and forwards, and it's multiple camera angles, because none of these decisions have been easy so far. And if this is the way it's going to go today, it's going to be tough. Slide them left for Marco Zacherl, right for Clint Van Aert, and I can see it's going only one way. And yeah, exactly that. It's going to be a one more time. Judge is not clear cut. There's one easy way to settle that, and that is to send them back, reset and start again. I don't know if there's problems with Zacherl's car, which is causing maybe the understeer on the first corner. I think Clint Van Aert, out of all of this, came out maybe the luckier driver of the two. Would you agree?
I would think so. I think they both scrubbed out pretty hard on initiation, and Clint had a couple other issues after, but yeah, I think he got away with it. I think what Jack Shanahan was doing in making sure that all the little bits of tire are scrubbed off the front, that's something, if I was all these other drivers, I'd be taking note.
You'd be watching
it?
Yeah.
I'd make sure my fronts are really scrubbed in, nice and warmed up, and all the little bits of rubber that collect on it are gone.
Yeah, exactly that. We go back to the start line to Jason Benet and Jarko Euler. And as you can see, an absolute pumped up there, Jason Benet in that Subaru BRZ. He's opted to lead first, a higher qualifier, as the rookie for 2025 sits in that crazy JZX 100, starts to creep off the line as Jason Benet now gets the green light through the gears. They come down the hill, and look at this, as Jarko Euler not giving Jason Benet an inch to get away, but he does lose ground on that initiation. Everyone's been talking about how fast Jason Benet is. He's that fast. The tyres back on fire once again, but he's got very wide. He's just about going to hold it on circuit. He has to sacrifice the lost speed there, and that opens the door. Oh, and he pulls off the circuit. The car shuts down. Jarko Euler will finish up the run and bring it across the line, and I am not sure what's happened there to Jason Benet, but he completely shut it down.
It looked like he is pulling off there too. That is crazy. Now listen, the tire fires, that is not something new for Jason Benet this weekend. What is new, though, is how soon that happened. Normally, those tires were lighting up right near the end of the run, but I think he was just pulling to see if the car was still on fire. But Jason Benet...
He's signaling to our technical advisor there,
I think he did.
Maciek Polody, saying it looked like he said drive shaft.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I wonder if after the transition from the outside zone, he said drive shaft. I mean, that tyre caught fire so quickly.
Right there.
Boom,
oh,
tyres
man.
on fire.
And that is a sign of how much grip, like how much friction this car, these tires are making, that they're self-combusting. It's absolutely wild that he's able to do that. And then let's see if we can see anything else with that car braking on throttle. But yeah, that's a rough one. Jarko Euler, I really liked how he was able to adapt to that and get around it. Yeah. No contact there.
So we're hearing word in the air, drive shaft failure on the back of Jason Benet's car, and hence why he couldn't transition. Coming out of the outside zone, goes for the transition across the circuit. Jason Benet snaps a drive shaft in the back of the car, unfortunately. No 5-minute rules here at Drift Masters. If your car is broken and you're out, then we'll go back to the paddock, and that will be the end of the weekend there for Jason Benet. We do need to make it official, though, with a run from Jarko Euler.
And this is the side effect of trying to get that much grip into a car.
Yes.
Is that you're stressing every part of the drivetrain. And unfortunately, in this case, it ended up being one of the back shafts, the drive shaft that popped out. But for Jarko Euler, this is I wouldn't say a gift, but this is probably nice for him to go, hey, I don't have to battle out on this one, and get through, show the car's still running, get a bit of a parade lap, make some friends in the Irish stands, and move on to whatever's going to be his next battle from our one more time earlier on. But Yeah. Okay. That's,
Okay.
yeah.
So there we go. Jarkko Ulla pulls up to receive the decision, and based on the new rules now in top 32, drivers don't need to prove they can initiate all the car works. They just get the winner automatically and advance through, and there we go. We make it official. All judges agreeing that Jarkko Ulla gets the win, advances through. Jason Benet, it looked like one of those weekends where he was going to be on top form.
Yeah.
A lot of people talking in the paddock about how fast he is. The car looks like it handles incredibly. But look, here we go. We go back to the line to another battle. It's going to be Orion Nilsson to take on Oliver Randaloo. And championship contentions in this one for Randaloo.
Right, yeah.
Because Orion Nilsson has been on form. So on the podium here in 2024, can he do it again this weekend? Nilsson loves Mondello Park.
Yeah, and it shows. His driving has been absolutely absurd all weekend. He just completely dialed from the start of practice all the way through qualifying, completely on form. But Oliver Randaloo needs to win this to stay in championship contention.
He certainly does. He's sitting second at the moment in the points of the championship. He's been on the podium here at Mondello Park before, but so has Nilsson. This one is going to be a heavy-hitting battle as they fire through, and look at Nilsson, puts that Sora to angle straight away as they come through, looks for the outside zone, dials it back on angle again, as now Oliver Randaloo starts to look for the side of the Norwegian Sora as he gives him a little tag on the door. Nilsson getting flirty with the walls, but Oliver Randaloo getting brave with the transitions and the dive up to the side of that orange Sora, and they bring it across the line.
Seemed like a little bit of panic from Oliver Randaloo, who kind of got rolled off the start and knew he had to come back through this battle. But Orion Nilsson, same thing, really a ton of speed coming through it, and we're seeing a little bit more of that understeer coming through this section. Watch those front wheels again, have to pull that angle out to get around it, but there's Oliver Randaloo trying to hunt down the Norwegian, and man, what a scrappy battle throughout this entire thing. It's just, you see one driver who feels pretty confident, and the other driver who knows that his championship lies in this battle right here, trying to push the pace all the way around. And did Orion Nilsson add a bit too much angle coming out of outside zone 4? That's something that the judges were looking at as well. That's a note that came up.
Well, you funny say that, because I just looked at that and he kind of transitioned a little early.
Okay. So a bit of the opposite, having to swing out that a bit quicker.
Yeah.
And when you have a longer car as well, it helps in some cases, but where it doesn't help is through those transitions, because it advertises it so well because of how long the car is. Helps with the walls, though.
Helps with the walls.
Yeah, helps a lot with the walls.
Going to go back on the line. They are Oliver Randaloo now to lead out Orion Nilsson, and Randaloo will want this one. A lot of pressure on the Estonian driver's shoulders. He wants to keep a hold of this championship, wants to stay in the top 3 is what he told me. As they fire through, nice initiation, big flick to angle for Oliver Randaloo as he keeps a hold of it. But look at Orion Nilsson not giving up, absolutely dialed onto the side of that E46 BMW as he makes another dive into the outside zone as Orion Nilsson looks for the back bumper, the side, the door, anywhere he can position that Sora as Randaloo puts it right to the wall and opens the door once again for Nilsson across the line.
Oh, Oliver Randaloo knew exactly what he needed to do. You can see, I 100% agree with that. Oliver Randaloo stepped up. Yeah, absolutely stepped up. That was a solid lead run through the gears, over the hill, big initiation there.
Wow.
Quick correct. He corrected it earlier,
So
which I
quick,
really liked.
yeah.
He didn't correct it while he was going through that clip. He knew what was coming up, knew that where he initiated wasn't perfect, made the correction right away, and then floated the car out. But Orion Nilsson right there the whole time. He was able to do it. He had to check his car up because he was coming in with so much speed through that first zone. But look at good angle through there. I may have angled up just a touch, but it looked good on my end. Looked great. Orion Nilsson does a good job of mirroring that. And Oliver Randaloo looking completely dialed through the rest of this run. Solid battle here. Both drivers doing exactly what they need to do in this to try and get the judges to sway their way. I am really not sure on that, though. The first run had a couple of mistakes from both drivers, but the second run, completely solid by both. So we'll see how the judges look at it as we get this beautiful phantom slow-mo. You can see those tires absolutely evaporating.
Yep, plenty of tyres being slaked this weekend here at Mondello Park in Ireland. There's both drivers out of the car waiting for the decision, and I think neither driver really confident in their performance there. They both wave and smile to the camera, slide them left for Nilsson, right for Randaloo. And there we go, Oliver Randaloo keeps that championship hope alive as he congratulates Orion Nilsson on a good battle. He waves to the crowd, and Oliver Randaloo will be thinking, well, that's one out of the way. There's just 4 more battles to go, and I can get as many points this weekend as possible to try and keep within that championship. Orion Nilsson, though, a little dejected as he takes that Sora off track. Did whatever he could. Orion Nilsson, once again, looking on form, Becky, and trying to keep the championship hopes alive.
Absolutely, Ian. I was just having a little chat with Oliver here, and I said, well, you gave him a little bit of a nudge on outside zone 4 there, and he, just a little smile. But Robin is drifting right.
Yeah, of course. It's we've battled so many times with Orion, and it's like so equal all the time. So it was a tough battle, but a great one.
I know we had a chat yesterday, and you were saying that you had the car set up quite soft. Any changes ahead of today? Obviously, the conditions are quite nice and stable right now.
Yeah, no, the setup is the same. So we try to learn it from practice days and keep it as it is.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations. You're into your top 16, and we'll see you there. Guys, back to you.
Thank you very much, Becky. Yeah, very happy Oliver Randalou. And like many other drivers, these guys, they'll just think about the weekend as a battle at a time, a qualifying run at a time, and Randalou will be just concentrating now on the next battle in the top 16. We are yet to decide who that is because they're on the line right now, and this one is a battle, a dream battle for some people.
This is like a fantasy battle.
It's a fantasy battle.
Yeah.
Yours is your feature pick. Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah, this is one of those, if you look at the whole thing, who would you like to see go head-to-head? This has got to be one of your picks here because you have a driver on such a massive come-up in the sport right now, and then you've got an OG that changed the game everywhere he went, whether it was power or builds or style or anything. Daigo Saito, an absolute legend.
He certainly is when he comes off the line in that incredible A90 Supra alongside a man that made his mark here last year, Drift Masters, the Rookie of the Year, fires that carbon Kevlar S15 in, but he can't shake Saito, and he does shake Saito. Saito goes for a big angle transition and puts himself on the middle of the circuit. Now panicking, Saito goes for the front wheel of Conor Falvey's S15. He transitions way in the wrong place. Saito making a hash of it. He's going to dive on the inside as Conor Falvey puts the car right where it needs to be and across the line.
Holy for Conor Falvey there, shaking Daigo Saito. That is absolutely insane. Fans still a bit tense there. Looking, I mean, the shirts are up, but look at Conor Falvey right off the go. Big angle all the way out, and then it looks like Saito just getting on the throttle a bit too early there, cutting to the inside and having to adapt. Now, what I will say is the way that Daigo Saito is able to make these corrections and get back into the fight is interesting. A lot of drivers would have given up completely at that point. Daigo, knowing that he can take this arc and get back through, but then not able to get that transition completely dialed in. And now Conor Falvey has a demanding lead in this battle right off the bat. But Daigo Saito, known for throwing things out there, trying different things, and doing something absolutely wild to win these battles. And I do have to put that out there. Daigo Saito, I mean, he's driven this car a handful of times. This is not the usual chassis he's in, not the usual engine package he's in, and in a car that's absolutely beautiful. So, yeah, really, really interesting off the bat. And let's just see here. We got a little tape is out. What is going on?
Well, it looks like Starlight Marshall is down there with Conor Falvey. Conor Falvey looking a little dejected, so we're going to find out what's going on. Now, Starlight Marshall reporting back to the guys behind the scenes that then feed that information to us. Oh, and the eyes closed on Falvey. Please don't tell me that this is going to be the end of the weekend for Conor Falvey. Saito, did he make contact? So the judges are looking at another monitor. I know that you're looking at it. Oh, and he made contact with the rear wheel. Did it do damage to the back of Falvey's car? I missed that completely. My eyes were all on Daigo Saito on the transition.
That's interesting. So,
well, if the right, okay, so we're hearing word from Conor Falvey that he's saying the alignment is out on the back of the car. Now, judges will have to deem whether Saito is at fault for that. So we're hearing it from our words. The blame is on Daigo Saito, straight from the judges, straight to us. Jacob, interesting news coming through.
And this will allow a bit of time then for Falvey to be able to go in and check this alignment.
So we don't get this very often.
No.
We do get it sometimes, but Falvey will now get the opportunity to go back to the paddock. The team will get the opportunity to, realign the car or check over everything on the back of the car. Saito deemed at fault for that incident. Saito now, on the other hand, he will have to take that car back to the back of the grid and will not be allowed to touch it.
Yeah, we want this battle to continue. We want this to go on. Judges saying Saito at fault for getting into the back of Falvey, who's on a good line, transitioning where he should have been. So I think Falvey would have just went out and sent it either way. I really do. Even with that alignment the way it was.
See, last year I would have said yeah.
Okay.
I think now, look how bad it is. Right now we can see it. Now we actually get to see how bad it is.
Okay.
That's
a lot of toe.
Conor Falvey, surrounded with the rest of the Drift Games team, he's gaining a lot of knowledge and he's growing as a driver. And where the younger driver in most of these guys would say, hey, I'll just fire the car out there, I think now Conor Felby's saying, if there's the opportunity to get a competition time out,
use it.
You know, use it.
Yeah.
Don't be silly. Don't throw the battle for no reason.
Yeah, this is a driver that's growing up in front of us.
Exactly that.
And those decisions right there to negate your instinct to just go out and drive, just go out and battle no matter what, that's starting to come down a little bit, and the grown-up, the veteran in him that will soon be, is starting to develop right in front of us, right here, which is, it's incredible.
It's incredible to see.
It really is.
Because most of these young guys, they would have just gone to the start line and said, hey, I don't care, I'll just keep going. Yeah, I'll figure it out. That Jack Shanahan mentality from many moons ago. We go back to the start line. Ite Seder take on Conor Shanahan. Like we see Ite on the podium at round 2 in Spain, and Conor Shanahan on the podium just a few weeks ago in Finland. Shanahan looking back on form, looking like he's the man to beat this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of pressure here for both drivers. Conor to maintain that championship pace, and Ite to really cement that he deserves to be here and stay in that top 10.
Well, Conor said it earlier on, these young guys, they've got that hunger in them, they've got the blood pumping through the veins, they want the wins. Conor Shanahan a little older now, a little wiser as he fires his Toyota GT86 to angle over the hill at Mondello Park, and look at that, perfectly timed on the initiation. Ite Seder mistimes the transition, puts himself on the inside of the track, his wheels on the grass, it's all over the show for Ite Seder as Conor Shanahan now places that GT86 right where it needs to be, sets himself up on the wall, finds the outside zone. Ite Seder gets back in the fight, back on the door, but it's already lost points for Ite.
Yeah, I mean, good job on Ite to kind of get back into that battle and not give up, but yeah, I mean, Conor really had his number all the way through that run, and it'll be interesting to see where this all went wrong for the young Seder, as Conor looks great coming over the hill, good angle, floating that car all the way out, and really it's through this transition that we see Ite just completely disappear and then have to fight to even show some sort of progress. Oh, wow, that's really, do you think he just mistimed that? Do you thought he was a little bit further? I think maybe he was a little bit further through the track, thought that he was where he needed to be.
I think he thought he was somewhere else on the circuit, went for the transition, and it just didn't pay off for him. And I think by the time he made the transition, it was too late.
Yeah. That's tough. I mean, there's a lot of smoke going on right now.
Do you know what I find interesting is, do you know when a driver makes a mistake?
Yeah.
Instantly, you can see it react in their driving because they then get angry.
Yeah.
You can see it from Ite, though. He's like, I'm going to get on the door.
Yeah, and to me, I'd rather see that than the panic.
Yes.
Because the panic creates incidents.
Or the giving up.
Yeah, don't give up. Just keep going. Just keep going. But it's the panic that creates those weird incidents. The angry creates close tandems.
Exactly that. We're back on the line now. The swapped him around. Ite Seder to lead out Conor Shanahan. A space in the top 16 awaits, and Shanahan would love nothing more than to get himself into that top 16, knowing already that Randaloo is in that big show. They come through the gears over the hill. Look at this, Shanahan on the back bumper of Ite Seder. He knows this young man is a very talented driver. A little bit of separation, but Shanahan knows he doesn't have to go too hard. Goes for a nice transition though on the back bumper of that BMW 2 Series. As Shanahan puts the GT86 right where it needs to be. Look at the way he's waiting to time those transitions like a cat waiting to pounce on a mouse as they come through that last outside zone across the line, door to door.
The best and worst part about this run is it really shows how good of a driver Ite Seder is, and just one small moment was the difference for him, because that was a solid lead run. And Conor Shanahan did not need to go this hard by any means. He did not need to be this close. He did not need to be as tight through all those transitions as he did throughout this run. He could have held back a little bit, could have, left 2 cars back there, just get through the run. But now Conor decides, I'm going to practice everything. I'm going to practice my transitions, make sure I can get in the door of it. If I'm going to win, I'm going to win definitively. I don't even want it to go to the judges. I just want to, continue on in the top 16. But Ite Seder absolutely putting down a solid run, and it's just unfortunate that a small mistake blinded by smoke and an early transition is what may take him out here in this battle. Great battle, though. Absolutely great battle.
Yeah, brilliant battle. And, for me, again, Shanahan proving, that knowledge that, that he's earned over many, many years of being in the championship, and crosses a finger still, says, you never know until you know. Here we go. Start him left for Seder, right for Shanahan. Seder knows what way it's going to go. It's Ite Seder says, well done to Conor Shanahan. As Shanahan gets the win and advances through to the top 16, and the championship fight really now starts to come alive once again.
Yeah, absolutely spicy now, and Conor now moving up in those points. We still have some of his competitors yet to go, and one of his competitors in Oliver Randaloo chasing in behind. So for Conor, for Oliver, for everybody, this means this event I'm not going to say determines the championship, but sets up how difficult it's going to be for the rest of these runs.
Here we go, back to the one more time between Clint Van Aert and Marco Zaccaril. Marco Zaccaril opting once again to chase first. So an interesting decision as Clint Van Aert asked to lead first. He puts his fist up. He says, I'm ready for it now. Got those first run jitters out of the way. I'm comfortable. I know what the car's going to do. I know how Zaccaril is going to be in the lead and the chase. Zaccaril nods. He's in the zone. He's ready to rock and roll. Test the steering, test the hydro. As the light goes green on the start line, they come through the gears and ready to get this one underway as Clint Van Aert leads out Marco Zaccaril. Zaccaril already on the back bumper, but a nice flick to angle for Clint Van Aert, and a lot cleaner for Clint Van Aert this time. An understeer once again for Marco Zaccaril. Missed the transition, had to reinitiate as Clint Van Aert now puts himself right in the outside zone. Looks for the transition back right to the edge of the circuit as Van Aert goes for the outside zone. This is cleaner, but it's a wheel off circuit. He manages to deal with it as Clint Van Aert goes for that final zone with Zaccaril on the door.
That's taking notes right away, going, this is what I did wrong in my battle, reflecting on it, acknowledging it, and then making those changes, because Clint did correct almost everything that was wrong with this run previously. Doesn't get, I mean, a touch of understeer, but doesn't make that massive correction that creates an issue, and able to get through it. But as you said, Marco Zaccaril having to almost reinitiate after the transition point, but Clint Van Aert all the way through, the Dutch driver looking very solid. Still a little bit wild, still getting out there a bit, you know, just dropping a wheel, pushing that pace. You know, I really feel like he's just got to calm some of those nerves. He gets into battle and he wants to go as fast as he can, get into the door of absolutely any driver he's with, and just taking that deep breath, having a moment to chill after that first one more time, knowing that he gets a reset and does a really good job there. But Marco Zaccaril missing that spot, but still stays in the battle, still tries to get in as close to tandem as he possibly can as we check out that incredible transition.
That was incredible.
That was so nuts.
What a shot. You just see Zaccaril disappear behind Clint Van Aert's car.
Yeah.
You also think for Clint Van Aert, you take down the man that was in the qualifying showdown that finished second in the qualifying showdown yesterday. It's a big statement to everyone else on the grid. When we go through the gears, they get the green light. Zaccaril to lead out Clint Van Aert. Clint Van Aert looks to give some room here to Marco Zaccaril on initiation. He doesn't know what Zaccaril's car is going to do, how it's going to react, and both guys hold on. Both guys almost make a mistake there as Clint Van Aert now fires and puts himself very wide and in the gravel. And Clint Van Aert now throws himself into a situation where he's thrown away possibly the second run of the battle. And he doesn't even continue to drift, shuts it down instantly.
Yeah, that's tough too. When you go into the gravel like that, it can actually do a lot of damage to the car. Things can get bent and broken, so you're completely out at that point. You don't want to try and panic, but yeah, right off the go, I mean, Marco Zaccaril just kind of rolled him, and I'm not sure with that run-up if it almost looked like a slight delay for Marco Zaccaril. It might have just been the way he was shifting gears, but Clint not able to time things. Either way, you got to stay with him all the way through that run-up.
Yeah, I was just looking to see if there was anything there, you know, a delayed, you know.
You're thinking the same thing I was thinking.
Yeah, just see if Zaccaril was doing anything different or doing, you know, had a delay that maybe forced Clint Van Aert into the situation. But when you look at it from another shot, the drone angle specifically, you can see that Van Aert just came into outside zone with a ton of speed and just put the car clean off track.
Yeah, it's tough. You want to push as hard as you can, and that's where some of this just, you know, knowing what you need to do in the situation.
Well, there we go, slide left for Zaccaril, right for Clint Van Aert. It's one vote for Zaccaril. It's going to be 2 votes for Zaccaril. He gets the win, advances through. Unfortunately, we lose Clint Van Aert, and you can see what it means to Marco Zaccaril from the Czech Republic, feeling good. And after yesterday's result, Marco Zaccaril will be very, very happy. He'll feel like there's some redemption this year, but Becky's down there with Clint Van Aert. He's having a really bad year, and he's not feeling himself, Becky.
Not the best day for Clint Van Aert. Clint, what happened? You were looking rock solid when you were in the lead position, and then in the chase there at outer zone 4. Tell us what happened. We were behind a wall of smoke.
Yeah, I was just pushing too much in the first corner and wanted to try it up with a fast transition, but I just carried too much speed and as well got lost in the smoke. And then I already felt I was way over the line, but I just tried to push on. But it was a trip to the gravel today, so yeah, no, it is what it is, you know. We weren't on form this weekend. Better luck next round. So fingers crossed for next round.
It's one of those days, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe not so good, right?
Exactly that. Oh boy.
Oh, Clint, well, we're looking forward to seeing you in our next round. We know that you like Riga, so we're looking forward to seeing you on that track there.
Thank you, can't wait.
All right, guys, back to you.
Thank you, Becky. Yeah, sometimes good, sometimes bad, and unfortunately this weekend for Clint Van Aert, pretty bad. And
happens.
You know, look, they've struggled with the car all weekend. They've been fighting demons within the car, and Clint Van Aert said he's been struggling with himself all weekend. We go back to the start line to my fantasy battle this weekend, a battle that I said was a feature battle. It's Harry Kerr to take on Dwayne McKeever. Dwayne McKeever, the lower qualifier, being asked to lead first by Harry Kerr.
I don't know if I would want Dwayne McKeever to lead first. I really don't, but we'll see here. Harry Kerr, I mean, it's an interesting tactic, but let's see what happens.
Well, I mean, look, Harry Kerr's asking the question of Dwayne McKeever.
Yeah, he really is.
You might be the old guard, you might be the guy that everyone looks up to, but I'm the new blood.
Yeah, man, this is another battle for the ages right off the bat in top 32.
And you've got to think for Harry Kerr as well. Lowest horsepower car on the grid, he said this weekend. Is he going to use the tyre to its most optimum to chase down McKeever first?
And I believe they're currently tied for first in the local series too.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit more on the line here than even what's happening here today. This cut's deep. This cut's real deep.
Well, these two guys have been fighting out in Ireland, you know, for the national championship over the first few rounds. And Harry Kerr said, look, if I didn't do well, I wouldn't come back, and won the first round. And him and Dwayne McKeever have been exchanging blows ever since. And here we go as Dwayne McKeever now leads out Harry Kerr in that lead position. Harry Kerr goes wide but sticks in it as he gets lost in a cloud of smoke. McKeever goes super wide, almost over rotates, and McKeever has to stand on the accelerator to drive himself out of that one as McKeever now puts himself into that second to last outside zone. Harry Kerr just can't keep up with the pace as they pull it across the line.
Yeah, two independent mistakes on different parts of the track, and that's going to make things really difficult for the judges here. But Dwayne McKeever off the hop, that is so fast coming through the gates. He is somebody who is driving angry right now. He wants to prove a point. He's just not had the season he was hoping for, and absolutely in it in a borrowed car. Little hesitant too on that on that shifter again. I think we talked
even
about it
had to
before.
look down there.
Yeah, and this is something we were talking about before. We believe he's got an H pattern in his other car, and maybe just having to swap out transmissions is just a little bit different. Takes you off the mark there, but
well, look, we spoke about it yesterday with Amanda Sorensen. You know, jumping into a different car, everything's in a different position. The shifter's in a different position. It may be a H pan or a sequential, and then the hydraulic handbrake is in a different position. And I think that's what just caught McKeever out there a little bit. Yeah, he's driven this car before in Finland. He drove it in practice yesterday and today, but that car's still not his car.
Right, and we saw that with the shift, right?
Yeah.
Because you see his hand go kind of forward on it, and then he'll backhand it to bring it back in gear, which is something that comes from an H pattern. You don't need to do that on the sequential, so old habits are dying hard.
They certainly are. Well, off the line, Harry Kerr now to lead out Dwayne McKeever. We'll see how the second half of this one plays out. Look at this from McKeever, straight onto the back bumper of that BMW. As Harry Kerr fires that car in, McKeever goes door to door and gives Harry Kerr a little nudge on that outside zone. They get into this long outside zone 4, and Harry Kerr fulfills it perfectly. No mistakes from the young gun so far as he now looks for the wall. McKeever fires through the smoke, looks for it, but they both go wide, almost contact with the wall from both guys. But Harry Kerr now pulled away from McKeever.
Oh man, another interesting battle. Both drivers just getting at it all the way through, fighting and pushing into every part of these zones. So this replay is going to be one for sure. But Harry Kerr, big feint, gets that flick out, gets as much momentum out of that car, not having the horsepower to be able to break through. And look at Dwayne now really getting a handle on it. You can see the intensity in his eyes, even through transition, grabs the e-brake, and he decides, gets right into the side of Harry Kerr as we get into our fourth outside zone. And then Dwayne having to add a bit more power. Harry Kerr looking absolutely solid through that zone. And there's Dwayne again, almost a question in his eyes of what is this man doing in front of me? Having to battle all the way back through it. Very quick transition there from Harry Kerr. And then pushing it out to our second large outside zone. Both drivers getting real deep through there, having to dial things back before taking it into the wall. Nobody wants to be replacing body panels here. But wow, both drivers just getting at it through this entire run. At the last moment, finding that grip and pushing it back out.
This will be an interesting decision from the judges to see how this one goes. And Dwayne McKeever deep, remember, on that fourth outside zone, his lead. Could that be the nail in the coffin for Dwayne McKeever? Harry Kerr would love nothing more than to get into top 16, his first ever debut here at Drift Masters. As we await this decision to come in, two guys discussing where they both went wrong. Slide them left for Kerr, right for McKeever. Who's going to take it through to the top 16? It's a one more time for David Kalas. It's a one more time, unanimously from the judges.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think both of them can clean things up and maybe dial things just a little bit back, and I think they're both relieved for that call.
I think Dwayne McKeever is relieved for that call, and I'm going to say that it was wheels off on outside zone 7 for Harry Kerr that maybe forced the decision from the judges to go one more time, that Harry led Dwayne off. Nevertheless, we go back to the start line to the second half of the run between Conor Falvey and Daigo Saito. Saito sits in that car.
Yeah, and this is where Daigo Saito made that contact, judges deeming him at fault, and there's the damage from it.
Yeah, and there was damage. There was a bent rear arm on the back of Conor Falvey's car, so the team got that swapped out and realigned, and now looking ready to rock and roll as they come off the line. It's going to be Conor Falvey to chase down Saito as they come through the gears. Daigo Saito fires that car to angle, big initiation, flicks dust in the face of Conor Falvey, jumps over the curb and now starts to pull away from the young Irishman as he gets into the outside zone. Conor Falvey sacrificing some line there to try and find that lost proximity as he gets up on the inside, now fires down onto the wall. Daigo Saito going absolutely 110% around the circuit as Falvey jumps onto the back bumper.
This is exactly what I was expecting and hoping for here at the Daigo Saito, who just goes, this is it. This is all I've got. I'm going to throw everything at the wall. I'm going to use every bit of angle, every bit of wheel speed, and just throws that car with so much aggression. Look at those 20-inch wheels, biggest wheels on the grid right now. The car looks so incredible coming through angle. And then Conor Falvey now learning why Daigo Saito is the legend, the man in the myth that he is, having to go through and chase that with so much speed, so much angle, lock to lock, everywhere across the course. Pivots on that left foot brake as he brings the car around. Such an incredibly difficult thing to do from Daigo Saito, and he really is. There's so much that he's doing in this run to try and really shake Conor Falvey off him. That's what this is.
Well, you know, there's 2 points in this. Go back to the first run, Saito making 2 big errors in his lead.
Yeah.
Also making contact in his chase. Making contact with Conor Falvey. So he knows he has to try and do something. And if he could throw a big angle and throw Conor Falvey off into the grass, it could have done due diligence, but it didn't. Here we go. Slide him left for Falvey, right for Saito, and it's 2 votes for Conor Falvey. Gets the win and takes down the legend that is Daigo Saito. As Daigo Saito says, "Yeah, I know it was coming."
But wow, just to see that battle here is it's one of those times you'll think back and really reminisce on. It's such a good battle.
At the moment right now, Conor Falvey probably won't realise it, but he will do in a couple of weeks' time. We go back on the line, Juha Rinnan to take on Juha Poitalasko. 2 Finnish drivers going head-to-head right now. The BMW of Poitalasko sits in that lead position. The higher qualifier decided to lead first.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting for both these drivers. I mean, from an announcing perspective, a bit of a tongue twister for both of us, but we're gonna get through it.
Yeah, we're gonna get through it.
We got
together.
This.
We can do it.
We can. I'm very excited for this one too. Battle of Finland.
Battle of Finland right now on the line. They come off through the gears. Juha Poitalasko to lead out Rinnan as Rinnan now jumps onto the back bumper of that BMW. Tentative initiation from both of these guys. They keep it nice and slow and low speed, but look at that, it messes up Rinnan a little bit. Wheels on the curb. Messes up the transition now, gets himself back into the fight as Rinnan goes for the side, and that BMW looks for the transition back. Rinnan going to make a big dive here, fires the back end there, but it's scrappy from Rinnan, gets himself into the fight, tags the door across the line.
Yeah, Juha Poitalasko doing exactly what he was doing all the way through practice, very predictable, solid line all the way through. Another driver that's really developing in front of us, kind of known before for being a bit of a wild man, and it looks like he's taking some grip out of the car, a little bit slower, but able to get through the run. Good line all the way through, very steady. Look at how controlled he looks in the car. 7, 8 e-brake pulls there, it really gets the car settled. Juha Rinnan being a little bit more wild, having to try to figure out the pace of Poitalasko and not able to kind of get into the proximity that we were expecting, but Juha Poitalasko, I can't just say Juha, in the lead there all the way through. Looks good. Big angle through there, on throttle through these transitions, and then Juha Rinnan tries to get back in, over angling a little bit. So what I really think we're seeing here is one car that's a little bit slower, a little bit floatier, and very easy to drive, it seems. Not that I could. And Juha Rinnan with a car that is much faster, a little bit more pointy, a little bit more aggressive, and harder to drive. Now as we swap, though, will Poitalasko be able to keep up with Rinnan?
You took the words out of my mouth.
I tried.
I was sitting there watching the replay thinking, Rinnan's turned that car up.
Yes.
It's gripped up to the max. You can see the way he can make those dives. But now can Poitalasko keep up with the grip in that GR86 as they come down for initiation. And look at that big flick to angle for Juha Rinnan. And that does for Poitalasko as he goes for the transition back. Rinnan into the outside zone as Poitalasko goes for a big dive, sets himself up into the door. That small GR86. They fire through the middle of the circuit, up into the wall goes Rinnan. Rinnan, though, a wheel over the edge of the circuit, keeps it calm, but Poitalasko glues it to the door. Then wavers and wobbles as they get it across the line.
That turns, I mean, as we see Juha Potilakso's partner there and Chrissy spawning for him, but that kind of went the way I thought it was going to go. Juha Rintanen right off the bat, trying to pull as much of a gap as he possibly can. And Potilakso cutting a few spots to try and get back into the battle, because as much as this is a very fast track in the first part of it, things slow down quite a lot when we get to outside zone 4. Potilakso really taking his time to even get out there. Just very controlled to try and get into the side of Juha Rintanen, who lights up that car and really starts to take off again. Full power through a lot of these transitions, trying to shake Potilakso, who's in the chase, but Rintanen very stable through this. And look at Potilakso, gets into the side of him. Does a really good job there in a car that's not nearly as gripped up as we see from Rintanen. So really, really interesting. I don't know how you judge this one. Very tough, but Rintanen gets a little bit wild out there in the lead, but does pull a bit of a gap on Potilakso. Some points going back and forth.
Yeah, I think for me, the wild initiation threw Potilakso off. You could see dirt thrown up there on initiation, and I can see the judges looking back at that point there. I think wheels over that curb, massive points deducted, especially in that lead, in that chase position, sorry. So both guys out of the car, waiting for that decision to drop in. Juha Rintanen looking a little nervous there.
Yeah, interesting how both drivers coming from the same country, two vastly different chassis, but two vastly different driving styles here today. And Juha Rintanen always fast. Very, very quick driver. Potilakso taking it back a little bit.
A little reserved this year.
Yeah, and I'm okay with it. I like to see that. I like to see, being a little bit more controlled with it. Maybe not having the speed, but having a car that you can get through the whole run with. And it really,
I think there's something to be said about, having a car that is more manageable than the car that feels like it's going to throw you into the grandstand every 5 minutes.
And for me, I think that might get you through top 32, but as we move through, these cars will get faster.
Yeah.
So Potilakso will have to speed things up if he even makes it.
Well, there we go. Decisions in. Slide him left for Potilakso, right for Rintanen. Oh, we've got a split judging panel so far. It's going to be Juha Potilakso, though. Gets the win, advances through. David Kalas, we have to come to you. Why was there a split judging decision there?
Because it was very tight. It was like very small difference between both drivers. But for me and Mateusz, putting so many times wheel off on the track on the lead run of Juha Rintanen was the decision factor, which put it that small advantage on Juha Potilakso's side.
Well, there we go.
All right.
A claps all round in the spotters tower. Chrissy Alto, Juha spotter makes her way back to the paddock. We go back to the start line to a battle that we spoke about earlier on. Laurie Heinen to take on Naoki Nakamura.
This is another battle very similar to what we saw before. A very stylish driver in Nakamura and a very quick driver in Laurie Heinen, who, he can drive a lot of style, don't get me wrong, but a different style of style.
It's a different flair of style.
Different flair of style. Good.
Different flair of style.
I like that.
Is that even a...
It is now.
It is now, yeah.
Mint it.
Well, there we go. Nakamura sits in that chase position. Heinen opts to lead first as a higher qualifier. They get the green light and they are off through the gears. And Laurie Heinen said it's like a fantasy battle, chasing and battling Naoki Nakamura. Nakamura matches the initiation, but Laurie Heinen deals with it better and fires that car right across the circuit. Now starts to pull away as Nakamura tries to get himself back into the fight, makes a big dive in the outside zone as Heinen puts that car right to the edge of the circuit, fires it towards the wall and gets it done perfectly, and Nakamura fires through the smoke, just can't get there, just can't get that proximity.
Yeah, Laurie Heinen is so fast and incredibly dialed and just has that lead run completely locked down at this point. Knows where he needs to be on track, set it and forget it right at initiation. And interesting, Nakamura behind him. Look how fast Nakamura's initiation is. So when they swap that around, that is going to be a tough go for Laurie Heinen, who right now looks completely on form, really pushing to get back into this championship fight. He knows he's back a little bit. Defending that title is one of the toughest spots to be. And Nakamura, throughout this entire thing, does have to cut a little bit to get back into the chase.
He does.
Yeah, has to cut a bit.
And he kind of triangulates some of those outside zones. If you watch the line he takes, he's triangulated it quite a bit, and he still doesn't really manage to get himself in the fight. Look at that, way on the inside there, because he knows that Heinen's going to be fast as soon as he picks up the throttle and drives away. And yeah, look, Nakamura's there, but not there.
Yeah, and when you triangulate like that, you have to change the momentum of the car really quick. It's wanting to go backwards, so then you have to then dig out of it again, and you get kind of stretched on even more. But change them around. Let's see how this goes.
Well, you said to me that this is going to be interesting, this bit. We talked about this a lot. Here we go. Nakamura to lead out Laurie Heinen. What can Laurie Heinen do? Can he deal with these crazy initiations from the Japanese driver? And look at the pace that Nakamura's firing in. Big angle. Heinen deals with it, sticks to his own thing now, starts to settle himself into the barrels. Nakamura goes for the outside zone. Heinen finds himself on the inside. Nakamura wheels over the edge of the circuit as Laurie Heinen fires through the smoke, looks for the side of that GR86, trying to get himself into the mix. Stands on the foot brake as Nakamura trying to slow that car down, and Heinen almost makes contact.
Yeah, Heinen, this is why he's a champion. I had a thought of what might come out of this battle, especially with the crazy initiation that Nakamura was doing all weekend. And what Laurie Heinen did proved me so wrong in the best possible way. He held back. He knows how fast his car is, and he went, I'm going to let Nakamura, I'm going to give him some space. I'm going to let him throw that crazy angle. I'm not going to try and mirror that right off the bat. And then I'm going to dive in and get that proximity. And it's such a smart move from Laurie Heinen. Nakamura out front, all style, all day. Does get a little bit wide there, holds onto the handbrake, maybe a touch too long, floating it out there. Laurie Heinen not shaking at any point in time. Battle of two completely different styles in these cars. One with a ton of flair, a ton of angle, throwing all the style everywhere that he can, and then Laurie Heinen with that speed and precision, and it makes for such a unique and interesting battle as they come through it. Nakamura doing exactly what he does, what he's known for in Japan and everywhere else in the world. Laurie Heinen doing what he's known for, aggressive and fast and precise.
There we go. You see from the replay there, Nakamura just dropping a few of those outside zones as well. So judges will be taking a look at that one. They wait for the decision to drop in. Heinen calculated all, as always, on his lead. He gives a wave to the camera. Here we go. Slide him left for Nakamura, right for Laurie Heinen. That's going to be one vote for Laurie Heinen. It's going to be Laurie Heinen takes the win, advances through. And judges looking over saying, yep, Nakamura losing some of those outside zones. Not a very good clean chase. Unfortunately, bows out of competition, and Heinen starting to feel like he's still in it.
Yeah, I mean, Nakamura, though, just absolutely on it.
Yeah, absolutely on it. And there we go, Nakamura still smiling, always happy, pulls that car off circuit, but a man that will have a smile on his face after a stressful day yesterday will be Laurie Heinen and Becky.
Absolutely, Ian. You know, we were just having a conversation. I was listening to you up there and saying, you know what? A smart move from Larry there, that he's holding back, letting him go ahead with that initiation before he kind of sucks up to him and gets into the zones. But Larry, is that what you were doing, or did you actually get gapped off the start line there?
Yeah, I was gapped. I was, because Naoki is one of my biggest idols, I was just gazing at him at the start line, like enjoying myself, and ooh, then he went.
Well, you know what? That's definitely answered the question for us. But you're into the top 16. What is it like to shake off those nerves of getting through top 32?
Feels so good. I think we are, run after run, we are getting better with this fixed car, so I'm enjoying it.
Are you happy to be back in Ireland? I know that this is a track that you do enjoy.
Yeah, I love the Irish audience. Yeah, you remind me a lot of the Finnish audience. Really, everyone is here and cheering from their hearts.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you in the top 16, Larry, and very well done, guys. There's your answer.
Thank you very much. I mean, look, there's no shame in saying that you got gapped. He was sat on the... Do you know what he said? When he said I was sitting there with, gazing over at Nakamura, I just imagined the emoji with the heart eyes.
Yeah.
That was Laurie Heinen staring at Nakamura saying, oh, my God.
It's a happy little accident, right? Happy little accident.
Happy little accident there.
Yeah, worked out well for him.
But, hey, look, it did work out well for him as he takes that car off track. Yeah, got that car fixed, slowly working on it time after time, so not 100% yet. We go back to the start line to a one more time battle between Harry Kerr and Dwayne McKeever, and Harry Kerr once again asking Dwayne McKeever to lead out the first run of the battle.
Yeah, I mean, keep going the way it's going. I don't know, maybe I would have swapped it up. What about you? I'd change it up.
No.
Go for something different?
No.
Stick with what works?
To be honest, I don't think if I was driving a Drift Masters I was a high qualifier, which would never happen, ever in a million years, I would change it up ever.
Okay.
I think I'd stick to what I know, stick to the old, high qualifier leads first.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I just figured you'd qualify lower, so you'd be chasing.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'd always be chasing till the final.
I want to bring this to reality. All right. Oh, interesting.
Well, there we go. Yeah, looks like maybe Laurie Heinen's car or Naoki Nakamura's car losing a little bit of coolant there on the track, so we're going to get that just quickly cleaned up.
Sweating some horsepower.
I like it. Yeah, it was put under its paces.
Yeah,
happy little accident.
Happy little accident. Yeah. Oh man, what an incredible set of battles we've already seen here. I mean, we've got a ton more still to go. Some of the biggest names in the sport still have to go up.
I was just going to say that we hyped up the battle between Harry Kerr and Dwayne McKeever, the one more time battle on the line, ready to go. And then I kind of looked back at my battle tree in front of me, and I was like, oh, we're not finished yet with the craziness because we've still got Jakob Brzezinski to take on Phil Rose, James Dean, Kevin Pesur. I spoke to James Dean earlier, and he said that's a tough battle.
Yeah. Yeah, completely agree. And then Tony Kavia and Chris Brady, I think we talked about it yesterday. I said, I'm not sure if any body panel is going to survive that. No, be none left. And then Mika Keska-Korpi and Jakob Kroll to wrap things up. Another set of very just hardened battlers. So, yeah, I mean, that's just top 32.
And I know, and then we start to look at what we're going to have in top 16, which we'll show you later on with our battle tree, and it is pretty spicy.
Yeah, very spicy.
It's very spicy. It's going to get hot and heavy later on this afternoon here in Mondello Park. But we still need to get through some of these battles in top 32 as the door slam closed on both those cars. It's going to be McKeever to lead out Harry Kerr for a spot in the top 16. And one more time battle. McKeever making those mistakes, Harry Kerr making those mistakes. Judges said not very clean from either driver. We need to run it back and get a clean battle between the pair of them and see who will go through to the top 16. The light goes green and they go through the gears. Harry Kerr, look at this, mirroring the speed, mirroring the pace, and now McKeever pulls away and fires that S15 to angle over the hill here over at Mondello Park as he puts the car right to the edge of the circuit. Harry Kerr now looking for a little bit of lost ground, has to shortcut that outside zone. No mistakes from McKeever at the moment. He's got that car dialed 100% as he puts it right to the wall, right to the outside edge of the track. Harry Kerr lost in a cloud of smoke as McKeever brings it across the line.
Dwayne McKeever found another gear, found what he needed to find, kept that same amount of speed that he had previously, but able to get onto the throttle a little bit earlier so he didn't overshoot any of the zones and just gets on it. As soon as he comes through, he's got this transmission figured out now. He knows how to work it, and he is working that car all the way through this entire run. I'm not sure if anybody's gone faster around this entire track at this point. I have to pull up the Wally data to really understand, but Harry Kerr getting a little bit shook there, does a great job of coming back into the battle, at least by the end of the run, because Dwayne McKeever just completely locked in through the whole thing, stable throughout it, and just able to find another bit of pace on this incredible track. Wow, absolutely nuts there as we take a look back at our slow-mo here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at this point there where Harry Kerr lost a lot of ground. I think it was on this transition. I think the way that McKeever positioned the car, he kind of used the momentum as he come across. I'm looking across at your info as well there, Jacob, and he really did pull a lot of ground from out that outside zone 5 across the circuit. Well, here we go. They're back on the line and back through the gears. Oh, and Harry Kerr looks like he misshifted there in that car, now picks up the pace, now finds that gear, flicks that car to an angle, and it stalls up McKeever ever so slightly. Over the hill they come, right to the edge of the circuit. Harry Kerr wheel over the white line as McKeever unfazed, now finds the side of that BMW, absolutely checks up both the drivers there in the outside zone. Oh, it's a D-bead from Harry Kerr as he now tries to balance his way around. As Dwayne McKeever looks for the side of that car, finds it, and across the line.
Yeah, I mean, I really think Harry Kerr was trying to find every bit of pace that he could through this car, dropping the tire pressures down, increasing that contact patch, and just trying to get every little bit of speed out of it. And unfortunately, not able to hold on to it. As you said, I think maybe a bit of a misshift there.
Yeah.
Gets back into it. Dwayne McKeever does a really good job knowing how fast his car is, but Harry Kerr right off the bat.
Yeah, it's a DB.
That compression. Yeah. You can see it that exact moment when they come over. But Harry Kerr, I mean, stays in it. Probably knew in that moment there was something wrong with the car, that there was a DB. These drivers know pretty quick.
No, they know pretty quick. For me, it was the check-up in that outside zone. Both cars went in there, good line, but stalled up very quickly, and that's why, because Harry Kerr went to go on throttle and just didn't have the drive that he would normally have, and did a good job, did young Harry Kerr, to make sure he fulfilled the run.
Yeah, what a great shot there to show that tire barely hanging on, but Harry Kerr driving through the whole thing and making sure that he's at least going to come across the finish line on his own terms.
Exactly. So there we go. They pulled up and out of the car, and both guys know probably what way this one is going to go. That's for sure.
Man, scrappy battle though.
Yeah. Here we go. Side of left for McKeever, right for Harry Kerr. It's one vote for McKeever. It's going to be Dwayne McKeever getting the win, advancing through, and we say goodbye to our wildcard driver, Harry Kerr.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if we start to see him here in Drift Masters more often.
Well, it could be a possibility.
I put my vote. I don't know if we're allowed to vote or have a say, but
no, you get no votes apparently.
Okay. Well, if I did.
No, we removed the voting system for you.
Oh, lovely. That's a year 2 thing, huh?
Yeah. It's longevity. Right, here we go. Back on the line. Jakob Przeskodzki to take off Phil and Roach. Przeskodzki, the higher qualifier, third place. Got himself into that qualifying showdown yesterday. Sits on the line in the lead position, opting to keep it as it's meant to be, as time has served. To look at this, a slow thumbs up, a laser focus out of the windscreen. Phil Roach yesterday, unfortunate in that first run of qualifying, went out on circuit, full wet, now looking laser focused, doesn't even want to look at the camera, stares across at Jakub Brzezowski, waits for him to pop the clutch and lift that car off. The light goes green. Both guys leave the start line. Fionn Roche now through the gears, over the hill, as Jakub Brzezowski flicks that car across that GR86, absolutely dialed in as Fionn Roche now works into the side of that GR86. They go for that transition back, and Fionn Roche holds back ever so slightly as Jakub Brzezowski gets himself right where it needs to be, and a little stall up, a check up there from Fionn Roche. A mistake creeps in from the young Irishman as Brzezowski puts the car right to the edge of the circuit, to the wall, looks for the final zone, and across the line.
Jakub Brzezowski just very, very sorted and dialed. I mean, of all the cars going around this circuit, to me, this is one of the smoothest. The car is not doing anything unpredictable for him. That team has the suspension, everything completely locked in. Fionn Roche doing everything he can here, really getting at it, gets in, and he looks super solid through this section. Now tries to pick up a little bit more proximity, then through the transition, just not able to get the timing completely sorted, having to then cut that line, and then gets in a little bit tight here, and not able to really get the transition the way he would have liked there. But Jakub Brzezowski, just phenomenal out in the lead there. An incredibly calculated driver. Someone taking all of his years of motorsport and putting it in. Fionn Roche just not able to be comfortable through this run.
Yeah, I mean, look, and you know you can trust Brzezowski. You know, third place qualifier yesterday in that qualifying showdown. It's a guy that you can lean on for that lead line. You know he's going to be absolutely dialed. He's not going to play games. He's not going to do anything silly. He's going to impress the judges. So he's going to put down that 90-point lead run for sure. But for me, a few mistakes leading in there, too many mistakes leading in there for Fionn Roche. Now we get to swap them around, and Roche will have to lead out Brzezowski. Brzezowski now will know from the spotters exactly what happened in the background. Look at this, so focused, just a slight thumbs up. He doesn't even turn his head. He's looking at that start line. They get a thumbs up from our start line marshal, Marcin, down there. They wait for that light to go green, and Brzezowski already creeping through the start line as he slams through the gears. We see the onboard of this incredible driver, but he's been absolutely left standing as Fionn Roche fires that car to angle. Fionn Roche now up and gone. Is this a game plan for Brzezowski? Is he going to try and rein in the young Irishman, or was that a mistake for Brzezowski as he fires through, looks for the back bumper of the GT86 as the GR86 works its way down on the inside onto the front wheel. Brzezowski finding that lost ground as Fionn Roche barely makes it across the line on angle.
Really, really interesting there. I mean, I know the judges are going to be going back and taking a look at this run-up, because that is where everything went strange. So Jakub Brzezowski taking a bit of a roll there, getting the tires lit up right away, but Fionn Roche gets on it, gets going, and I don't know if Jakub just misses a key or something, even initiates really late, trying to gain as much speed as he could, but at that point in time, Fionn Roche already well through the track. Jakub Brzezowski has to battle back. Very calm, though. Really doesn't panic through any of it.
I mean, he did an incredible job of getting himself back into the battle, but for me, the initiation, and I mean, we see it there from the replay. On initiation, he went wheels over on inside zone 2, kicked some dust up. Judges will be looking at that.
Yeah, the judges are, I mean, they go back and take a look at both these runs. They're going to, check the first one, see what happened there, but yeah, for Fionn, this might be a bit of luck for him. A driver that's kind of been unlucky here throughout this entire season. I mean, this is second year for him, needs something to go on his side. Could this be enough for him to get that win and move on? But I'm not sure, because Jakub Brzezowski had such an incredible job on his first run.
On his lead, yeah, exactly that. And judges will be taking a look at that lead and chase side by side.
Tough go for both drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a mic in there.
We do.
We don't want to talk over it.
Yeah, I know. I want to kind of listen, but then we paid to talk, so I'm sorry.
Hard to do both at the same time.
Exactly, right. Well, here we go. Decision, I don't think as easy as we may first have.
Yeah, judges really taking their time.
They're taking their time. Here we go. Slide them left for Brzezowski, right for Fionn Roche. It's going to be one more time. It's going to be a one more time. Yeah, complete unanimous.
Yeah, I get it. I think they want both drivers to clean up their runs, and I think both of them feeling relieved on that, knowing that it wasn't the perfect battle from either side, so get to run it again.
Yeah, Fionn Roche, I feel maybe a little confused there.
Yeah, maybe.
He looked a little confused as he walked away.
Yeah, I don't know which way he was confused. Maybe he looked back at the replay, watching the replay on the big screen going, I gapped you. I absolutely gapped you, but maybe not remembering what happened before that.
Exactly that. Well, here we go. We go on the back on the start line. It's James Dean to take on Kevin Pesur. James Dean, a higher qualifier, opting to lead first. And James Dean said this isn't going to be an easy battle against Kevin Pesur. A lot of guys saying earlier on after practice that Kevin Pesur had gripped that car up to the maximum. Kevin Pesur having that car dialed in and saying that he was feeling good this weekend, as he always does.
Yeah.
Always says he's feeling good until he's not.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone feels good until they get knocked out, so we'll see what happens.
There we go, James Dean doing his hand exercises there before he puts that car into gear. Kevin Pesur, as always, absolutely cool, calm and collected. Oh, he means business. He knows that James Dean is the man to beat here at Mondello Park. He knows he'll have all of the Irish fans screaming his name as they come through the gears, down over the hill, and a big flick. And look at that from Kevin Pesur, right on the back bumper. This is the closest battle we've seen so far, door to door, as they come through the outside zone. Pesur goes for the transition, and this is clean from both drivers as Pesur goes for the front wheel of that Mustang. Kevin Pesur goes for an early transition, trying to hunt down the Irishman as he fires that BMW onto the side of that Mustang. They come through that last outside zone, door to door. Wow.
Wow. Another finals level battle right there, right off the bat. The best and worst part about battling James Dean is you know that lead run is going to be as close to perfect as anybody's going to get. So look at Kevin Pesur. Oh, man, the guts to be able to get that close on initiation. That is somebody who has just studied all the runs of James Dean, but Kevin Pesur not getting all the way out to that zone in the chase. James Dean completely locked in, filling all those zones, tons of angle, great transition here on throttle all the way through. Doesn't even give those tires a break at any point through this run, but Kevin Pesur completely on him, and James Dean allows you to do that. He'll give you a confidence you've never had before because you understand that when you are chasing that legend, the Irish legend, that you can throw everything at him and he is not going to flinch.
No, certainly not. And even that odd transition, picking up the front wheel, there's that much grip dialed into the car.
That's what these Mustangs do. They're so dynamic. And I know he's added his own little bit of spice and flair for this Mustang to compete in this series because things are a little different on this side of the pond. And James Dean able to get this car perfect for this style of battle.
And there we go, we're back on the line. Pesur now to lead out Dean as Dean starts to creep through that start line already. Pesur slams the visor shut on the helmet and Dean jumps off that start line ready for action. He would have known by the spotters that Pesur was always there. He was always in the wing mirror. And look at this big angle from Dean. Is it a mistake? He deals with it. Shallows up the angle. Kevin Pesur looking rock solid as James Dean now fires down on the inside that BMW. They go door to door in the outside zone. Kevin Pesur unshaken though as he puts foot to floor, looks for the transition. Dean back into the battle. They go wide on the outside zone towards the wall. Dean glued to the door of Kevin Pesur.
Holy, everybody is on the edge of their seats right now. What happened there with James Dean, who just threw an immense amount of angle at initiation?
What seat? I just picked it up and threw it out the window.
Yeah, I'm standing at this point. I don't need a seat. But look at this. Kevin Pesur does a really good initiation. James Dean just almost over rotates. I don't know if that was planned or what happened. Wasn't able to get the grip. Maybe got onto the curb there, but then has to play catch up through the rest of it and does an amazing job. I mean, he is never phased. James Dean is never phased, no matter the situation. Kevin Pesur out front doing an incredible job, and then there it is. James Dean knowing something went wrong there right off the bat, and I'm going to have to put down another historic chase run on the door of the Estonian driver of Kevin Pesur. Wow. I mean, there's no way Kevin Pesur would know what just happened.
No, until he just see James Dean pop up in the side onto the door. He would have felt him right there as James Dean was knocking on the door of that BMW. Dean did an incredible recovery to get himself back into it, but that, you know, I'm guessing was a big mistake. I wonder if he thought that maybe Kevin Pesur was going for a wilder initiation than he did.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I mean, we'll have to catch up with them one way or another on that run to really see what happened as we take a look at James Dean leaving some marks on the side of Kevin Pesur. And James the big smile no matter what.
Here we go. Decisions in. Left for Pesur, right for James Dean. It's one vote for Kevin Pesur. It's going to be Kevin Pesur.
Wow.
He takes down James Dean, and that mistake from James Dean on initiation taking him out of competition. Kevin Pesur said it was going to be a tough battle, and so did James Dean. Dean said to me earlier on today, it's not going to be easy to beat Kevin Pesur here at this track because he's on form.
The championship battle is taking a turn right now, Ian. This is really, really interesting. I mean, yeah, wow.
Well, there we go. Kevin Pesur takes that car off track, and look how happy he is. He's waving to the Irish fans in the grandstand, but a man, he'll be a little bit dejected. He's down there with Becky. Becky's not having the weekend he'd hoped for.
Absolutely, Ian. James, I obviously know this is not the way you wanted the weekend to go, but look, a brand new car, a brand new chassis, all of the developments are leading to this moment here, and this weekend it hasn't gone the way that you wanted to.
No, definitely not. Absolutely the last result I wanted this weekend, especially bringing this car to Ireland. I really wanted to put on a show, and I feel like I let my Irish fans down, but I tried my best. I knew I had to chase hard. He was chasing me really hard, and his car is really fast off the line, and he had a little bit of a gap by the entry, and I just flicked it. It went to too much angle, and yeah, I'm glad that I managed to hold on to it and rescue some of the run, but very disappointed. But once again, thank you to all the best Irish fans for supporting me no matter where I go. Yeah, we'll be back next year, and we'll have a point to prove for sure.
What's the plan now, James? Is it back to the drawing board to take another look at this car and the developments that it's made so far? Can you tell us what's next?
Yeah, we made some huge improvements to this car over the weekend, honestly, because it's the first time driving this car this year on a track that I know. I knew how kind of far off we were with the setup. So we made a lot of progress this weekend. I feel more confident going into the second half of the season. But, you know, I'm very proud of my team for what we're doing. Like, it's a brand new car, brand new suspension setup, new engine to figure out, new so many things. So we're managing to pull this off in a small garage in Ireland, and with the support of RTR in America, it's unbelievable. But disappointed with the result. I really wanted to put the car on the podium this weekend, but it's motorsport. You know, you win some, you lose some. We'll be back.
Absolutely, James. Well, we'll see you at the next round, and that's all she wrote, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Becky. Yeah, very dejected James Dean. The winner of this round last year in 2024, unfortunately, won't be on the top step. And it's going to have championship, implications, because James Dean, at the moment, third in the championship here at Drift Masters, and with Conor Shanahan and Oliver Randalou progressing forward. All it takes now is for Kvyat to do well and progress through, and we could maybe see Kvyat or Heinenen's in as well.
Yeah.
But Kvyat is right on the heels of James Dean in the championship. If Kvyat can pull this battle out the bag and take a step forward, we could see Kvyat third in the championship, even higher by the end of the weekend. As we move through this championship into Riga, things are going to get hot and heavy. Both guys on the line, though, and it is going to be one of our wildcard drivers to take on a regular contender. Chris Brady sits on the line, an incredible Nissan S15 full carbon Kevlar built by the team at James Dean's workshop. He takes on Torane Kvyat, who yesterday came over that hill like a man possessed.
Yeah, just doing things on this track that nobody else has ever done at speeds that no one else has even thought of, and the commitment. I mean, entering in full throttle, not even touching the e-brake. It's something that we really don't get to see. So
no, we don't get to see it very often, that's for sure. But what will he do right now, where he needs to be sensible for a little bit, that's for sure, as he fires through. Look at the speed of Kvyat already. Caught Chris Brady out on that initiation, but Brady wise to it, shallows up the angle, keeps himself in the fight as Kvyat now fires that car through. Shallows up the angle once again as Chris Brady trying to shortcut the circuit. Kvyat on an absolute blinder of a lead line. Look at the way he can flick that 180SX to angle as Brady goes for the door, looks for the side of Kvyat's S13. They go right to the edge of the circuit.
Yeah, Torane Kvyat, he's on another level at this point. He's just building momentum with every run, and Chris Brady, this is tough for him because the speed that Torane Kvyat is able to get out of the car. I got a little bit of the secret sauce of what they got going on.
Oh, yeah?
It is wild how they've got this car set up right now, and he is able to get through it, able to master. Look at, he was telling me what the car is doing on the inside. I'm not going to give anything away because I don't want anybody copying it, because it's dangerous the way they've got things going. But he's able to handle it, and Chris Brady doing a really good job of getting back into the battle and trying to keep the speed just on. Torane Kvyat is picking up speed through transition. That is a spot where a lot of drivers are going to pull off the throttle a little bit, kind of slow the car through, and Torane Kvyat just finds the grip, able to whip the car around. Look at this. And then barely even a handbrake pull. Chris Brady, bit of a spectator through part of it, but able to get through on that last outside zone, picking up that tandem, knowing, hey, it doesn't matter, I can't give up, because when we swap this around, as we've seen previously, when you are a bit slower of a car, and you've got a faster car chasing it, that faster car has got to dial things back, and that is not an easy thing as the clock ticks down, and Torane Kvyat not at the line.
No, Kvyat not on the line, and you can see our marshal down there. You can see Kvyat at the back end of the grid, and he will have a few moments to cool that car down, but he will have to make his way to the burnout box pretty quickly.
This is what we talk about. This is something we've seen before. Crossed arms, waiting for those temps to come down.
Look at the heavy breathing from Kvyat. Look at the nervousness in the legs, twitching. He would have been on the radio to the spotter, and the spotter would have said, look, incredible lead. And look at this Kvyat saying, when do I need to go? Now is the time. Now. I go back to the line right now.
Probably watching those water temps click
And there
down
we go.
from-
Look,
yeah.
enters the burnout box with 17 seconds to go. He's going to make it to the line with perfect time. Again, another driver scrubbing those front tyres before they pull to the line. Here we go. The clock means nothing right now as Kvyat pulls to the line, that chase position. Brady slams the door closed on that S15. As we wait the light to go green, Brady will have to do everything he can and everything he knows to get himself through this battle. But he's got a steely competitor of Taurani Kvyat hunting him down as they initiate together at the same angle. But Kvyat goes on the inside, drops wheels onto the grass as Chris Brady now puts himself into the outside zone. Now Kvyat finds himself lost a little bit in the smoke. Now Kvyat needs to pick up the pace and find the side, and that is 15. It's scrappy from Kvyat, but Brady's putting down an absolute heater in the lead position as Brady leads him across the line.
And I really don't know which way this is going to go. Did Tony Kvyat get the temps down? Is that engine hurt? Is the ECU pulling something out of it to keep that engine temp down? Because Tony Kvyat did not look nearly as fast as what I was expecting. Cutting really tight on the inside here, which is kind of a shocker, and then gets a bit scrambled after that point as Chris Brady pretty solid in a very, very dynamic S chassis, rolling around, setting that up very loose. And there's Tony Kvyat getting right and tight onto the side of that beautiful all carbon Kevlar car. I mean, that is really, really interesting. The judges having to take a lot of looks at this to understand what was going on. A bunch of angle thrown by Chris Brady, who's swinging the back end around, trying to get that wing over the wall, with Tony Kvyat having to push as much as he can on an engine that's not happy about the temps right now, just to make sure he's still in this fight. Oh, man.
Yeah, strange from Kvyat there. I think you might be right there, Jacob, saying about, the heat here this weekend and pulling maybe some timing out of the car and not making it run at full power. But Kvyat made a big mistake, but there was mistakes there in the lead from Chris Brady, and I wonder if that was what led Kvyat off. And yeah, look, this is what the judges are looking at here.
Yeah, so a couple of spots to really start to dial in on and understand where there might have been some mistakes.
I think it's here on initiation. Watch how far Chris Brady goes. Wheel on the curb, and that forces Kvyat over the curb as well, especially in that chase position.
Yeah.
So that would have thrown Kvyat off. And there was a handbrake pull halfway through that second inside zone from Brady.
Yeah, there's a lot of cause and effect in drifting, and really to have that solid chase run, you've got to have a solid lead. And if the lead kind of cuts you off by going that far inside track, it becomes very difficult. You have nowhere to go other than to mow the grass.
No, exactly that. So we wait the decision to drop in from the judges. Of course, we're just speculating here at Drift Masters, me and Jacob, because we aren't the judges. We have our judging panel right next to us. David Kalas, Werner Sweneveld and Matthias Jedges, and of course our fourth judge on the replays, our eyes for the judges, we like to call him. He's the eyes everywhere. Here we go, decisions inside him, left for Brady, right for Kvyat. It's going to be a one more time. Kvyat shakes his head and says no, and he's absolutely gutted with the decision. David Kalas, just quickly to you, one more time, scrappy from Kvyat somewhere.
Yeah, the thing is that I understand that Thor does not like that, but we looked on his chase and he maybe thinks that he was taken to the position to cut that much and make his mistake. However, we've been discussing this and we still believe that you don't need to cut that much. So he was put into that place, but you don't need to cut like 1.5 meters in front of the leader. So that's why we put it one more time.
Okay, fair enough. So even though, Brady put him into that position on the initiation, he still should have got himself back into... Look at this from Kvyat.
He's a passionate guy.
He is a very passionate guy. Look, he's really upset with that decision.
Yeah, and maybe once he hears back what the judges had to say, you might understand.
He'll still be angry.
Yeah, he's going to drive hard. That's for sure.
He'll just drive harder. Here we go, back on the line. Mika Keski-Korpi to take on Jakob Kroll. Keski-Korpi, the higher qualifier, opting to lead first against Jakob Kroll. And 2 one-more-time battles to go.
Yeah.
It's not over yet,
Not
Jacob.
over. Not over.
You can't go and get a burger yet.
Okay. I'll hang tight.
You'll have to hang tight for a minute. Here we go. Keski-Korpi absolutely focused in the car. The Finnish driver to take on the Polish driver, Jakob Kroll. He's feeling good. Feeling good about himself. Smile, slams the door closed, puts a fist bump up to the camera. He's looking good forward to this one. Had some good luck here in Ireland before. Mika Keski-Korpi looking for a turn of some of that good luck as they come through the gears over the hill, and a little slow from Keski-Korpi on initiation opens the door for Jakob Kroll as Kroll mirrors the angle on initiation from Mika Keski-Korpi. Now both transition, look for this long outside zone as Jakob Kroll finds the side of that BMW 2 Series. They time the transition perfectly. Kroll through the smoke onto the side, but big angle pulled from Keski-Korpi, and he has to fix the mistake as Kroll jumps up onto the door.
Yeah, Keski-Korpi going through that zone really flicked it wide, and he did an amazing job of getting things sorted again, because that could have been an over-rotation really, really quick. But Jakob Kroll in the chase all the way through does a really phenomenal job of adapting to what was going on in front of them. I mean, both these drivers, ooh, look at that big correction from Keski-Korpi right off the bat. You can see it in the car.
Look at it in the car. That's the handbrake again as well.
Yeah, to get that car slid out, but a great job. I mean, that's something I think we both kind of missed right off the bat.
Yeah.
These things happen so fast that, you know, the old hindsight's 20/20. We get to see it now in these replays, but Keski-Korpi does not look shook at any point in time after that point, and just throwing a bit more angle for the Irish fans there. Jakob Kroll staying back just a touch, maybe thinking, okay, Keski-Korpi going a little bit wild on this run, as we can see how much angle that Keski-Korpi's got going into that zone. Just, you know, I mean, he could have taken out both taillights on that run.
He could have done, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Both drivers, I mean, mid-pack from last year, sitting 16th and 18th, so they want that. They want that advancement. They're on a good set of momentum here, and in a good spot to be able to improve from last year, but one of them's got to get through the other in order to do that.
Yeah, certainly has. Well, they pull back up to the line. Jakob Kroll now to lead out. Mika Keski-Korpi is our starlight Marshall Moss. He goes to have a look at the rear end. Yeah, the bodywork there on initiation, just getting a little caught up on the wheel and folding under. So making sure that is all still good to run for the second half of the battle. And Marcin happy enough with the quality of the bodywork repair.
Yeah, that car is very flexible.
Very flexible. Yep, these carbon Kevlar cars able to take some abuse, that's for sure. Oh, Keski-Korpi almost completely rolled through the start line, which he can do, but he would have caught himself up a little bit there as Jakob Kroll now comes through the gears down. A nice initiation. Mika Keski-Korpi on the foot brake trying to balance that 2 Series in. A little drop of wheel on the grass, but goes for a brave transition behind Jakob Kroll. Kroll doing everything he needs to do in that lead position, looking rock solid out front, but there's no shaking Keski-Korpi. They both go for the wall, they both go for the outside zone. Mika Keski-Korpi glued to the side of Jakob Kroll as they bring it across the line.
Wow, Keski-Korpi, I mean, he would have felt some of those mistakes on his previous run and having to make up for it, but Jakob Kroll on that lead, very, very dialed, getting basically through those zones, looks incredibly smooth and just so fluid throughout the entire thing, and even his just development throughout this weekend and the way he's been able to attack the track from the start until they're at the point now. And there you get that onboard of Mika Keski-Korpi really fighting through that car, but able to get that proximity through a lot of it, pulling a little bit of the angle out to gain the proximity of Jakob Kroll, who's out front. And look at almost having to stare through the smoke, waiting for that moment for Jakob Kroll's car to appear again on transition. That is the scariest time in a drift car. At these speeds, have no idea where they are right here, and hope that you appear on the correct side of that vehicle in front of you.
Crazy, those on-board shots where you could just see the whites of the eyes, the focus. I reckon they don't blink the whole run.
No, and their pupils with dinner plates by the time they get to the finish. Wow, absolutely great. Look at the shake in the tire as they get put through their paces. Oh man, what a battle. What a battle. Both drivers just stepping up. I mean, you get the first run down, you immediately get into your head of, okay, what do I need to improve? How can I beat this driver? And then you go out and do it.
And most of these guys, as soon as they finish the run, they would be back on the radio. Well, where was he? What was he doing? How was it? What do I need to do? Was it a good lead? Was it a very good chase? You know, they would, no messing around. They would have been on the radio, and a tough one for both teams there, to be honest.
Yeah, this is another nail biter, and we're going to see what the judges think here. We got one more times already. Could it be another?
Here we go. Slide him left for Kroll, right for Keski-Korpi. It's one vote for Jakob Kroll, and Keski-Korpi knows what's coming. Jakob Kroll gets the win and advances through to the top 16. And another driver, the Finnish driver, Mika Keski-Korpi, a little dejected there as he makes his way back to his car. The Polish fans in the grandstand very happy with that decision. Another Polishman in the top 16.
Yeah.
As we look to go back to the one more time battle between Jakub Pszczonski and Fionn Roach.
Yeah, Jakub Pszczonski had that bit of a run-up and issue there, and Fionn Roach getting a little bit crazy, getting a little bit wild. Both drivers really need to dial in, get things sorted, and I wouldn't say be more safe, just be more calculated.
Yeah, I think Fionn Roach there, I think he felt like that was a little bit of a sigh of relief with the one more time coming in, because I think when he looked at his reaction out of the car, he thought maybe he'd lost that. Pushkonski, I think, thought he'd won it, that's for sure. Well, he get the green light to go. They're through the gears. It's GR86 to take on GT86 as they go bumper to bumper. And Fionn Roche this time not scared to get close to Pushkonski's car, but Pushkonski looks like he's turned up the heat maybe a little bit more, another 10% on that one, as now Fionn Roche fires in onto the rear wheel. That GR86, they come through the smoke. Fionn Roche goes for a brave early transition, makes it even braver on that transition as Fionn Roche won't let the Polishman get away, as Fionn Roche fires angle at it across the line.
Wow, Jakub Puszczynski has so much angle to slow the car down as he comes out of initiation there. Fionn Roche does a good job of staying back maybe a little bit, has to get back on throttle, and look at the amount of angle and how long Jakub Puszczynski is able to hold it through that entire zone. As they get into our fourth outside zone, this is where Fionn Roche starts to make his dive, and that early transition, as you said, lines him up and then sets him up again for our big second outside zone, and there he is, locked in place on the door of Jakub, who has such an incredible line through the whole thing. What I love about Jakub Puszczynski's driving is he almost sets up a corner on the corner that comes before it.
Yeah.
It's like watching someone who's really good at billiards, where they take the shot, but then they're also placing it for the next shot.
For the next shot, yeah.
That's how I see Jakub Puszczynski's driving.
You might have to check the notes. Maybe he's like a world champion in...
I would not... What can't he do? I have no idea at this point. I mean, just so many disciplines. Yeah.
We've looked at his notes and he's done pretty much everything.
It's a long list. I mean, he's got a whole page to himself here of accomplishments. But yeah, just a great run. And Fionn Roche doesn't get shook at any point. Still in the battle all the way through. Does a good job. Doesn't make the same mistakes he took before. And now they pull to the line.
Yeah, back on the line they go. Fionn Roche in that lead position. Jakub Puszczynski to chase him down. Fionn Roche, I think this time on the chase, can trust Puszczynski's lead, and he did, but can now Puszczynski trust Fionn Roche's lead? We see him pull a massive gap on initiation. Will he let him get away with it this time? He doesn't. Look at this, Puszczynski right there, onto the side, onto the back bumper, not letting Fionn Roche get away this time. And Fionn Roche on an absolutely blinding lead line at the moment. That's opening the door for the Polish driver as Puszczynski goes for the early transition this time. Tucks up on the inside, goes for it even bigger, almost makes contact as he dives on the outside zone. Has to get himself back into it as Fionn Roche drags him across the line.
Wow, what a bold move there from Jakub Puszczynski, and it's because Fionn Roche gave him such a really solid lead run there. Fionn not taking a ton of angle through this course, knowing that he's trying to run away, he's trying to shake him, which is an incredibly difficult thing to do, but he's very stable throughout it. Not a ton of corrections from Fionn Roche, who's got this out. Look at that, almost takes the whole front end of the car off the ground, coming through that compression zone, and look at him all the way through here. Jakub Puszczynski, very bold move on this transition, taking the inside. Fionn, not a ton of angle, and then Jakub Puszczynski, oh man, getting in there, just timing that so well. And man, if you miss that, if you're off by even a millimeter through that, you're going to catch the back end of the car, or you're going to slam into the side of it, and that could be all she wrote on an incredibly tight run for both these drivers. Wow.
Yeah, incredible scenes there, and Puszczynski doing everything he could in that chase position. For me, looking back at the replay, Fionn Roche there, a little shallow maybe, a little bit. Those outside zones, you know. Judges will take that into deliberation, especially after how close it was on the first battle when it was a one more time. But Puszczynski and Fionn Roche out of the car, waiting to get that decision from the judges here. Slide them left for Puszczynski, slide them right for Fionn Roche. It's one vote for Puszczynski. He puts his arm in the air. It's Jakub Puszczynski from Poland who gets the win and advances through to the top 16, and you can see what it means to the Polish driver as Fionn Roche takes himself back to the car and says, another weekend where we have to go away, reset, rework it out. But, you know, you have to give it to Fionn Roche. He drove his heart out this weekend and really did put on a show. But Becky's down there with Jakub Puszczynski. Puszczynski must be feeling over the moon right now.
Absolutely, Ian. Kuba, that was an incredible display of driving there. Congratulations, you're into the top 16. Can you tell us what that dive onto outer zone 7 was? Because it looked crazy, and we thought for 1 second you might lose it, but you managed to put it together.
Yeah, I felt that on this zone I was not close enough, and then I says, be or not to be, and then I attack. I hit, but it was really small tap, and I'm really happy of this battle because we had really nice fight, and Fionn did really good job. And sorry for guys here, but it was really nice fight.
What is it like driving with drivers who are so much younger than you, but you can see the talent coming through?
No, I think this sport is really nice because you can be really young and older, but it's everything in the head to go exactly all the time the same runs, and not making any mistakes.
Absolutely, congratulations, Kuba. The experience is definitely shown through here. We'll see you top 16. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Becky. I like the way that Kuba Szkodzki apologised to the Irish fans for taking out an Irishman.
He wants to make it out of here tonight.
He is the nicest man you'll ever meet.
He's very nice. I was in the elevator with him the other day, and we were just chatting, hanging out. It was a good time.
Was he talking to you about his fitness regime?
No, but I think he was headed to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He runs like 600 miles a day.
I believe it.
Yeah. He's a triathlete.
Of course he is.
Right, we go back on the line for the final one more time battle of our top 32, and it will be Chris Brady to take on Torani Kavir. An angry Torani Kavir, I'm going to say.
Yeah, and maybe, here's the thing, he's either going to go harder or he's going to try and dial things back a little bit. Maybe, I think he listened to the judges, but we'll see what he does.
Well, we're going to see what he does as the light goes green. Brady to lead out Kavir as they come off the line. Kavir opting to chase, being the higher qualifier this time. Look at this from Kavir, down on the inside he goes, waits for Brady to set that car up now. Kavir, a little wobble there from Torani Kavir as Brady puts himself right where he needs to be. Kavir switching it up for the second half of the battle. Kavir, a mistake again, can't get himself into the mix now, goes for the dive on the outside zone. Brady right to the edge of the circuit. Brady starts to pull away as Kavir looks for the side of that S15.
Interesting.
Very.
Very interesting. Torani Kavir made the correction on initiation. So maybe listen to the judges. We'll see. Because like this is where the judges were saying, if you're going to go inside, don't go that far inside. Does a good job there. Now, Chris Brady, a little bit shallow through that section. I'm not sure if he made it all the way out to that zone, but Torani Kavir gets a little bit shook coming through a fourth outside zone and then has to play a lot of catch-up, pulling a bunch of angle out here to keep up with Chris Brady, who has been picking up a lot of speed. He was one of the slower drivers in practice, and they've been adding more and more to that car. I feel like every practice run and every battle, and now Torani Kavir, one of the fastest drivers we saw previously, struggling to keep up with the S chassis. So as we swap this around, Torani Kavir might feel like he's on the back foot, and what is he going to pull out to try and get the win here against another incredible Irish driver?
Yeah, an interesting one, just watching back at the replay there. I could see where the mistakes were creeping in, seeing where mistakes were made. And, you know, Kavir did the right thing with the initiation this time. You know, he didn't go so far on the inside, wasn't led astray by Chris Brady. But Chris Brady, yeah, as you mentioned, Jacob, a little shallow on some of those outside zones. Maybe that threw Kavir off. I'm not sure. As Chris Brady reverses back off the start line, we wait to see Kavir pull to the line. Oh, he's pulled into the wrong position.
Oh, that would be why. Hey, it happens. This new system is new to a lot of people.
Yeah,
I get it. We didn't catch it right off the bat either. Maybe he just wanted to see. Okay, let's just check what Tor's working with right here. You know,
maybe he's going to throw Kavir off. He's like, I'll do 2 leads.
Yeah, I wonder when. I mean, I would hope we would catch that. I mean, we missed it. I'm sure. Hey, Marson, nothing gets by him.
Oh no,
he would immediately been like, no, over here.
Over here.
Yeah, Torani Kavir scrubbing those fronts again, taking off the little marbles. And there we go.
Well, there we go. They pull up to the line and Kavir pulls into position. Chris Brady sits in that chase position. They get the thumbs up both sides. They get the light to go green, and Kavir comes off the line and through the gears as Chris Brady now hunts down the Norwegian sledgehammer as he fires through the gears. And look at this, he's a man that's driving very angry as Kavir throws mad angle at it, puts that car right to the edge of the circuit, starts to work his way into this outside zone. Chris Brady can't answer Torani Kavir at the moment. Now shortcuts the outside zone, starts to gather up some pace and look for the side of that 180SX, but Chris Brady's all over the track shortcut. And look at the pace in Kavir.
I like an angry Torani Kavir. I really do. I like the way he drives like this. When he's got a point to prove, when he doesn't agree with something, when he wants to prove a point, this is what he does. The amount of angle coming over there. Man, that car is just bouncing around. And that, man, the amount of G-force that he is experiencing in that car, I'm surprised he didn't come out the window. Getting out to this zone, full lock all the way through, tons of speed. He's able to drive this car in such, look at the speed on transition. I know we're slowing this down and it's still fast. And Chris Brady really just became a spectator for a lot of this run, but didn't give up, didn't back down at any point in time. With what in front of him is an incredibly angry and frustrated driver who put all of that on display and on the track and got through it. I mean, just absolutely hucked all the way through this run. Chris Brady, that's a tough one to keep up with that much speed. It's just really, really tough. But he stayed in the fight all the way through.
Yeah, he certainly did stay in the fight all the way through. I think for me, Kavir, I think he had that mindset from the get-go. I think he wasn't too worried about his chase.
Yeah.
As long as he was there on initiation and didn't make too many mistakes, I think Kavir thought, there's no way he's going to catch me when I lead. So here we go. They're out of the car, and Kavir looking a little cooler now.
Where does he keep those? Has he got like a little pocket for his shades in his?
He's got a special holder in the race car. Here we go. Slide him left for Brady, right Kavir. It's one vote for Kavir. It's Torani Kavir getting the win and advancing through to the top 16. And there we go. The top 16, Jacob, is finally set.
Wow, some crazy battles already coming up with it. But I mean, I know for Torani Kavir, very excited to be moving on, getting into the rest of these. But yeah, wow, I'm tired.
You're tired already?
I mean,
You can't be tired. There's no time to be tired. Becky's down there with Torani Kavir. Becky, I want to know why you were so upset with the first one more time decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too, Ian. Tor, I've known you for a good few years now, and I know when you're upset. And when we watched you go through the first battle with Chris Brady there, you threw your arms up as if to say, what? Can you tell us what you were thinking after your first battle?
I don't think the judges really saw what I saw from my car in that battle, but we got to go one more time, and I pulled out something. So, yeah, but it was a tough call. He's on a different tire. We got to try out to pace ourselves, but, yeah. Happy to be in top 16.
We've got to talk about one more time from the point of view of a driver. For us, it's just like, yes, we get to see them go again, but from a driver's point of view, it's like, what? You want me to do that again? I don't even know what I did.
Yeah, my head usually goes to shit when there's a one more time, so this is probably the first one more time I've ever won in my life, so I'm super happy, actually.
Well, Tor, fantastic to have you in our top 16. We can't wait to see you driving. I hope your car is going to be in good shape for that.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you. That's our top 32.
Thank you, Becky. And yeah, we'll just quickly apologise there for the language from Torani Kavir, a man that's upset and happy all at the same time. He's passionate coming out of him.
Man.
Well, me and you, Jacob, know what we've got coming up this afternoon when we go live again, but this is what you guys have got to look forward to in top 16. We've got Wycheck versus Olsen. We've got Shanahan versus Korpolinski, Jack Shanahan versus Korpolinski, Zachariel Euler, Oliver Randalou versus Connor Falvey, Conor Shanahan against Dwayne McKeever, Juha Poitolasco to take on Laurie Heinonen, Jakob Pesur to take on Kevin Pesur, Torani Kavir versus Jakob Kroll. Standout battle for you?
I mean, the whole thing, this entire weekend, really the first one that kicks it off. Piotr Więcek, Simon Olsen. Simon really having to prove something here. Piotr Więcek wanting to keep moving up those championship points, and Simon maybe trying to play spoiler to that. So,
well, look, we lost James Dean in top 32. We're going to start talking about the championship now. Look, Kavir's still in it. He was in 4th place. He may now jump ahead of James Dean, depending on how it goes against Kroll. For me, the two standout battles, Oliver Randalou versus Falvey. Falvey's on form, feeling good. Randalou needs the points. Shanahan versus McKeever. McKeever is way down in the championship.
Yeah.
He's got to go up against an on-form Conor Shanahan. Look, we're going to let everyone think about that for a moment. We need a rest. Jacob needs a sleep. Becky, we're going back to you. What a hell of a show we've got coming up this afternoon.
We absolutely do, Ian. I mean, that top 32 really has started to shake up the Drift Masters Snow Globe for this championship. It's all to play for. Guys, make sure you join us at 15:30 local time for our top 16, which will take us all the way to the finals. Catch us right here. Have a break because you're not going to want to miss this, and we'll see you then.